episode.
Dude, that's like me. You sounding like me now.
It's wearing off, man. You know, it's infectious.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are we good? Maybe not.
We're live.
We're good. We are live. Alex, first time on the channel, man. Thank you.
Feels
Thank you for stopping by. We're gonna bless everyone today with our big brain knowledge because we know everything that's gonna happen. So I guess on that note, what's the next play, man?
The only play. It's Prismatic Evolutions, right? It was so funny. It's so funny how like that's become one of like the things like my name is synonymous with now in this hobby is Prismatic Evolutions. I don't know how that happened. I can't believe that's a hot take, as you would say. It seems like the most obvious thing in the world, but apparently it's like I don't know. It just seems like it's not the smart thing that people think it is to do in the hobby at every different point. I've done it. You know, it's like every price point, every time along its life cycle, there's always been criticism of that set, and I don't understand it. And so I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and we'll see what happens.
I think it's just not the new shiny thing anymore, man. It had its time in the sun, and now everyone wants to put money into Ascended Heroes, even at 180.
Here's the funny part, though. When it was the new shiny thing, it was criticized because you were stupid for paying too much for it or over MSRP over 100 in ETB. But now that, you know, times have changed, it's the smartest thing in the world to buy Ascended Heroes at that price or more, to pay more for it. So it's like we changed so much in this hobby over, you know, the course of months or a year to where, you know, the very things that people thought were stupid a year ago are now the smartest play in the world. Or maybe it's because Ascended Heroes is just that much better of a set or whatever. But it's weird how it's okay to now invest in a brand new set at 150. But back then it was the dumbest, most Timmy move you could do. You notice that?
I'm on board with you, man. I said the same thing about Destined Rivals too. Just the perception, right?
Yeah.
People were fine paying $300 a booster box, but you know, 2x MSRP on a Prismatic ETB, that was a no-go.
That was where they drew the line.
It's interesting, man. Yeah. I guess we have a super chat already from Abraham. Hop right into this. Thank you for the $1.99. Thoughts on Brian saying sell Ascended Heroes to buy Prismatic? Ooh.
Did Brian say that?
I think he did in his most recent video, didn't he? I haven't watched it, but I'm pretty sure that's what the title was.
Okay, we're gonna operate in the assumption that Brian did say this exact thing. I don't know. I haven't watched the video where he said this. I mean, if we're talking that video he made a few days ago where he talked about selling, I'm on board with that. I mean, with all the ridiculous criticism he got for that video, I mean, I reached out to him. I said, dude, I watched your entire video from start to finish. I can't figure out for the life of me why this is being talked about by the community and people are making reaction videos to this. It seems so obvious to me what he was saying in that video. But as far as selling AH and buying Prismatic, I have no clue what's going to happen 3 to 5 years. If I had to place my bets on a set in 1 year, exactly 12 months from now to this day, I would bet Prismatic ETBs are going to cost more than Ascended Heroes ETBs, just because they're going to be going out of print. They're further along in their life cycle. We can argue till, you know, whatever about what's a better set, what's, you know, going to do better long term. I think for at least the short term, it's a better play.
Yeah, I'm on board with that for sure. It
5 years from now, maybe Ascended does take off.
I think people too. This reprint of Prismatic, the ETBs, SPCs now coming, right? The bundles we've had for a while, guys. This is the time. Like, it's probably not going to get much cheaper than this at all. So, you know, if you're looking at them, maybe a store has 100 in stock and you're thinking, I'll buy them next month. I'll buy them in July. You're probably not going to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Pokemon's one of those things where you can kind of have the same argument every single day in a different way. It's like, you know, you could say it's not going to get cheaper, and someone will say, you know, yeah, but I was able to buy X, Y, or Z, and I made this amount in the same amount of time, so I actually did better with my money. Or, yeah, but I'm going to, you know, make some plays with my money and buy a little later, even if I had to pay more, I still did better. You know, it's like there's always hindsight. There's always like better ways you could optimize. At the end of the day, man, it's just, you got to find out like what's right for you with the amount of effort and energy you want to put into something. and the amount of risk you want to take on. Like, I am sure there are infinite singles and slabs right now that are going to outperform Prismatic Evolutions. There's probably other sets that are going to outperform Prismatic Evolutions. But what else do I feel is safe in that I think is going to produce a similar amount of gains? I can't think of something in the next year. I really can't.
Mhm. Yeah. I think you explain that so well. And it's kind of the same reason why, when people talk about selling Ascended, maybe I don't feel great about it, even in the short term, just because I don't know if you're going to be able to buy ETBs, especially cases, cheaper in the future,
Yeah.
right? So if you have sealed cases, I mean, loose boxes, I think there's probably a higher probability
Yeah.
you're going to be able to buy them back cheaper. But those top tier items, man, I'm now in the business of holding on to, even if there might be better places to put my money in the short term.
The case thing's funny too, because one of my things I said, and I was obviously wrong on, is I thought the case premium on Prismatic was going to be a pretty big deal, and we ended up getting an actual distribution ETB reprint that came in cases, which has, I mean, largely kind of brought the case premium really close to what the 10 ETBs are. So a lot of that disappeared. Whereas right now, Ascended Heroes is seeing that same kind of premium happening. And I guess made that video the other day about card shops even now wanting not to rip cases because of that. And so I don't know like what's going to happen in the future, but I agree with you. Like, obviously loose ETBs are going to be more plentiful and probably be able to find it at a better price point. But I guess it all depends on how Pokemon Company is going to, have handled this reprinting. I mean, one of the things we can talk about is this whole the vending machine starting to get phased out.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's going to cause a lot of loose product to make its way to the market somewhere.
You'd think for sure. I don't know how you feel about it either, but I think I said this in a live stream. It makes perfect sense to me why they're getting rid of the vending machines right now. Like, if you're a store manager, you definitely don't want those type of shenanigans going on.
No.
It's unfortunate though, because so many people were able to access product at MSRP through those, right? That otherwise wouldn't have had that opportunity. So it's I don't know if that's going to be pushed through big box stores, maybe just on the Pokemon Center website, whatever. But it's going to hit the market one way or another.
Yeah, and it's just like, I understand like why people hate it and all that, but put yourself in someone's shoes who's working at like a minimum wage or near minimum wage job, and they can go get a few products and flip them for what they're going for right now. Like, they can make basically a whole day's income by getting a few products. Like, the people that would camp out the vending machines and get like a whole cart full of stuff, like they could replace like a week's worth of their income by doing that. I mean, yeah, think about those people. Like, yeah, they can be called every name in the book and you can hate them, but at the end of the day, like, they don't care. They're just trying to make a little extra cash and kind of improve their life a little bit. So I get why it was happening.
Yeah, the money people are making in this hobby, right? And this is something too that I've been saying for a long period of time. Anyone new to this space doesn't understand how it was 2-3 years ago, right? Like, things are drastically different. You could not make money on new releases. When I remember when Temporal Forces came out, I pre-ordered a booster box case, and people were roasting me. They're like, "Why did you pre-order a case? Like, just wait 2 months. You're gonna be able to get it cheaper." Right? So that was kind of the mentality back then, is you wouldn't buy stuff because you knew you'd have 6 months, 12 months to build your position. So nowadays it's completely different. And who knows what it's going to be like end of this year, next year, the year after that. But things are definitely changing. That's kind of the only guarantee right now we have in this hobby.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, I know everyone is, a lot of people who are like hoping for better prices are really putting all their faith and trust in this new printing facility. But it's like every single day the prices grow higher and the time frame gets longer and longer. And so it's just like, at this point, when you start looking at every set, I mean, you talked about it in one of your videos you just made about Phantasmal Flames just getting bought out to like 500. Now it's back in the mid 400s. When you look at Mega Evolution in the mid 300s, Destined Rivals pushing over 600 now. You obviously have Ascended Hero situation. It's just like, you already have this many sets that need to be printed heavily. They're still trying to print Prismatic. They can't get it down. They're anyone thinking they haven't tried, they've tried. And then they got all these new sets, Again, it's rumors. I've heard from people with distribution. I haven't heard firsthand, but their distributors have told them that the reason we haven't got the second wave of Perfect Order is because they are trying to make sure Chaos Rising gets released on time. So they're not even getting sets released on time, not getting our second waves. We haven't even got to another big set like 30th anniversary yet. I just don't, the longer and longer the time frame goes, the more and more sets get released. Whenever this print facility, this magical day comes and they have it, I still don't think they're going to be able to come back and get everything under control by the time its life cycle's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, bringing up Chaos Rising, I did want to ask you something about that. I've talked to people in Europe, and according to the people I've talked to, their allocations are actually much larger for Chaos Rising compared to Perfect Order. Have you talked to anyone, or you yourself personally? Do you know your allocations yet?
I mean, mine are definitely higher, but I don't get any large amount to like really base anything off of. I haven't asked Eli. I don't know if we talked about it. He's been on vacation for the last few weeks, so I think that's probably why. I can ask him and some other people. I don't know off the top of my head though. But if you're saying that, maybe that's a sign. I mean, like I said, Perfect Order, we haven't got the second wave because of this, but it's still hanging around like 205 to 215 a box in that range, and it isn't getting opened a lot. If we get a lot of Chaos Rising and then we get the second wave of Perfect Order, maybe between both of those, it could, we could start to see under $200 booster boxes. Maybe not.
By the way, how insane is it that a box nobody's opening and nobody cares about?
Dude, I don't get it.
$200.
I don't get it. We go literally whole nights on stream without opening one pack of Perfect Order. Like I know we've opened probably, I don't even know, man. I want to say like less than 1,000, but less than like 2,000 packs over the course of its whole life cycle so far on all the streams when we stream 5 days a week. So it's
by the way, rightfully so. That set is garbage. I don't care what anyone says. Perfect Order, not something you're going to see in my portfolio anytime.
Right.
Soon. It's not happening.
So what have you been doing lately? Are you getting a lot more like choosy with the sets you're moving into?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Have you always kind of been that way, or were you more diversified before?
When I started out, like very, very early on, I was a bigger fan of diversifying, buying a little bit of everything, but I pretty quickly started changing that and really set picking, because it's like the numbers just make sense. The better sets tend to outperform. It's generally not even close. Yeah. I think we've continued to see that. So right now I'm just buying Prismatic. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And people, again, it's like the YouTube space is just goofy because like, people will always like go hindsight and they'll throw out random like outliers here and there. And you're just like, it still doesn't make up for just moving into all the good sets, because if you get every set, like, yeah, there's going to be an outlier. There's going to be a Twilight Masquerade here and there or something. But overall, you're still going to be better off if you just moved into all the sets that you thought were going to be good.
Yeah. And even Twilight, I mean, you could probably compare that to a bunch of different things and it's underperformed. Right. So, and speaking of surprises, give me a second. I'm going to throw this up on screen.
Oh, no.
I did make a video about this yesterday. Paldean Fates.
Yeah, I watched that video. Yeah.
Give me a second, guys. TCGplayer sometimes does not want to show me what I'm looking for here, but these ETBs are now $540 according to the graph. I mean, 3-month chart, it's different from the 1 month, but yeah, we're there.
Here, scroll down. Is anyone listing them lower yet? No.
Mm-hmm.
That's the market price.
And $550.
You know what's funny too? That chart right there, that is more indicative of a collectible market than like the straight up charts. That's how collectible markets used to always look. You'd have time of extreme stagnation with very little movement. Then all of a sudden you'd have like, maybe not this quick, this is a buyout type chart, but like you'd have like a course of like, a few weeks to a couple months, and it would just go like straight up. And people would always think it's a bubble or manipulation. It's just like, this is more of a buyout, but like, this is kind of more how collectibles move. They do nothing for a long period of time. You get made fun of for owning it. And then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, oh, I just made 200% in the last 2 months. And it's just like, that made up for the 3 years of stagnation.
Now, Alex, some people might say that this was an obvious move, right? Paldean Fates, it's rotating out. It was due for its time in the sun. This is going to be a little bit of a quiz. Do you know what's moving today?
What is moving right now today?
What's something that hasn't moved in a very long period of time that people might not be super bullish on anymore?
I'm sure you're gonna go to Sword and Shield. I'm guessing you're gonna say something Sword
We're,
and
we're
Shield.
going to Sword and Shield, guys.
Is it like Fusion? No.
The buyout's starting, guys. We're
What?
over 1,000 again.
What's the lowest list?
It's still like a little bit over 1,000. I'm being a little bit hyperbolic here, but it
But not
jumps up
many. There's
to
only like that's like it.
1,100.
Just one listing, and it's up to the wow.
And there's been 10 sales today already.
I know Rudy's been pushing it like no other. You know.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out.
I mean, it makes sense.
I'm gonna look like an idiot or not, but I still believe that overall, I think Scarlet Violet's gonna do better in the next year. But we'll see. We'll see.
I tend
percentage wise, right? Because
you
gotta think, Fusion Strike could go to $1,200. That's 20%. I mean, I think a lot of Scarlet Violet's gonna move 20%.
I just think it's interesting though, because I haven't thrown it up on screen. Lost Origin, there's been a little bit of a buyout today too. Silver had an uptick in boxes moving. Evolving's back to almost 2650 on TCGplayer. So if these do start to move, what's that going to do for the whole era? We might see some interesting thing. And I don't know if it's going to be small, right? Maybe 10% bump, 15%, or is it going to be 50% overnight, right? I mean, if Paldean and Fates is jumping from 400 to 550 in ETB, why can't Fusion go to 1,500,
It can.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's two sets I believe in, it's Evolving and Fusion in that era.
Let me throw the Lost Origin one up on screen as well for the viewers. Right here. There you go. 4% today.
Is that like 800?
Yeah, 750. How many sales is that? 22 sold today. Lowest list 744.
Well, okay. One thing we both know. I mean, you're really close with Austin with the Black Label Fund. Dude, there's a lot of people that are moving money into Pokemon and having people manage it.
Yeah.
And some of it at this point, I almost call like the dumb money. Right? It's people who are wealthy and successful in other areas, and they've seen the articles and they've watched the news, and they maybe know someone who's in Pokemon, and they want to throw them $5 or $10 million and have them deploy it. And again, I don't think these moves are that, but like I think a lot of the things that are being bought right now could be being bought by some of the dumb money, like some of these modern slabs that are going for thousands of dollars that are brand new, some of these products that are literally up, hundreds of percent, and they're still getting bought. It's going to be interesting how everything shakes out. Maybe there's enough money to keep everything just continuously afloat and going. But no one's, again, I don't want to be bearish. It's just like no one's felt pain in so long, dude. Like no one has truly felt pain in so long. And I'm curious more than anything. I'm not like hoping anything bad happens. I'm just more curious on how a lot of this money operates, how all these people operate in like the face of a 20 to 40% decline and a course of like an extended period of no growth or negative growth. Like I'm just more interested to see how people are going to handle it,
Yeah. And I do think you're right when you're saying it is kind of dumb money or fun money for a lot of people, which, by the way, a lot of these are really successful people coming in. Their definition of fun money might be $1 million.
Right.
Or 100,000, 200,000, which would be a very serious position for most people. So it's and
again, I think that's why these are moving, is because you could say this is more the smarter money. People are like, well, all these are out of print, like they've been pretty stagnant, not doing a lot. We have to allocate these funds. We have, $2 million to allocate. They want us to be fully vested in the next 3 months. I guess we'll go to Sword and Shield. I guess we'll go here or there where they feel safer, and they're just putting the money to work because they need it invested.
Yep. And same thing in XY era, like Generations ETBs are, and that might have to do with 30th anniversary as well, being an anniversary set, but even XY is starting to move again too, which, I mean, it's not crazy moves outside of Generation stuff is up maybe 10%, 15%, but
yeah,
that's still better than nothing, right? So yeah, money is in every inch of this hobby. I'm curious though, because you brought up some slabs. Do you still have any as investments? Because I think it was late last year you were buying some to kind of speculate on.
Yeah, like I don't have any like major amount. I may have like $20,000 in. I mean, again, contrary to whatever, like a relative, whatever anyone's position is, but like compared to my overall position, it is a nothing amount of percentage, right? I just made some plays at at the end of the year last year on some of the early Scarlet Violet era illustration rares, like the Paldea Evolved Tyranitar Raichu, the Groudon from Paradox Rift. I have some Mewtwo's from Crown Zenith. I have some, just a lot of that stuff from like any like alt art or like Crown Zenith card. I have like some illustrations. I have like some of the 151 UPC Mew and Mewtwo promos, and these are all PSA 10s. And I just, went through and bought like 5 or 10 of each. And, I figured they all made sense. And, I was trying
And
to
by the way, they've
spend
all
some
done
money.
well.
I was trying to
They've all
spend some money at the end of the year too. So, whatever.
Yeah, I think the Groudon's 120 USD, more or less ungraded. So I don't know what the PSA 10's going for, but it's probably run up. The
I've looked
Mewtwo,
at some recently. Looks like I'm doing pretty good in all of them. Like none of them are like
yeah.
home runs, but I mean, some are up like 50% from where I got them, and so I mean, I'm happy with that. Like I'm. It's almost more of like a fun place. It's almost like instead of like paper trading, like kind of like at least putting some skin in the game to see if you were right type thing. I probably should go heavier on some of these plays in the future, but as of right now, it's kind of what I got going on. It's nothing crazy.
I still kick myself because I've never been someone to buy singles and graded cards.
Yeah.
I remember there was a point in 2024 when the Bubble Mew was, I think, $85, $90 ungraded. And I was this close to actually buying some tens. It was probably the closest I've ever been to buying slab. So yeah,
I did
it's
not see that coming at all, man. That is
no.
one I did not see.
hmm
Just
Yeah.
the meteoric rise of the Bubble Mew.
The set in general, I mean, obviously it was really top heavy, and I'm not a huge fan of baby shinies, but I mean people have just run with it, right?
Yeah,
Overall. So yeah, Paldean Fates. Mr. Shill and Mr. Live, Austin in the chat. What's up, man?
there he is.
By the way, guys, we've been going for 22 minutes. If you want to leave a like on the live stream, it does help out a ton. If you want to check out Alex stuff, more importantly, should be linked in the video description. If you guys have questions, we'll get to them now. We'll start running through some questions.
How's the site coming?
Good. I think we're going to be launching next week. I think Austin Thursday, right? Austin, we said we're going to do a live stream and just walk through it all. And
what was
it?
What's the model like? Is it going to be like subscription or like partly free, partly paid, or is it?
Yeah, so freemium version, but it will be monthly, and we might do like a discount yearly as well if people want that. So,
And what's
and I
like
think
the main focus of it? Is it for tracking, or is it for like making plays, or
yeah, making plays, sealed investing,
sealed
100%.
investment?
Yeah, that's going to be the focus instead of, a lot of these sites like Double Hollow. I mean, you could throw in Collector Shiny, all of these apps now. A lot of it's very generic data too that they're scraping from TCGplayer and other sites.
Right.
Everything we're using, like our mode, is the fact that I've been manually scraping eBay for over a year and no one has that data. So that's really the value proposition, I'd say there.
And is there like a collecting tracking to it too?
We're not building in a portfolio or a collection tool yet. I mean, maybe down the line that'll be something we add in, but there's I wonder if I could open it. Like we're gonna have a CAGR calculation in there. We're trying to build a destruction tracking tool because I think that's really useful as well.
A what?
So you know how a non has one too. It's
A
basically
destruction tracking.
Yeah, so looking at how many packs, right, are being broken down
Okay.
based on PSA pops. Ideally, Austin, if you're watching still, I think in the future we build in BGS data too, and just make it as well-rounded as possible. So there's going to be a few tools. We're going to have a set analytics tool, but the main value is looking at the sealed products, and we're building out as well a long-term score for everything too. But it's very difficult to kind of encapsulate everything into one rating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be.
But it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting for sure. First question from Turbo's Moto, which isn't really a question, but actually it is, I guess. Paldean Fade CTB is going for 420 on eBay and over 500 TCG player. Very interesting. Yeah, I think there's always going to be a gap between eBay and TCG player, and I think too, generally TCG player tends to be the first thing that moves, and then after that, people will go to eBay and they'll buy out those products. I know right now, for example, with Lost Origin on Screen Fusion Strike, some boxes being bought today on TCG Player. I just checked because I'm doing the update. I'm not finished it, but the sales aren't coming in yet on eBay. So it might be like a next week thing if this is a legit move when we start seeing sales on that
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah, here's one of the weird things about the hobby, right? This is like something like it's almost like a critical thinking question. And I don't know if there's a clear answer, but it's like, at what age or what price point do you think the data starts becoming more like true on eBay than it does TCG? Because when you go to like Sun and Moon XY, particularly, it's like all those sets are listed on TCG Player, and sure, there'll be sales here and there, but the majority of those sales are happening on eBay because it's kind of like at that price point, people want to see the pictures. They want to actually get a look at the whole box. Like that's where the majority, like more sales are happening through auction or buy it nows on eBay at that point when they're like, say 5 to 10 years old and thousands of dollars than they are in TCG. And so it's weird. It's like Fusion, Evolving are going to get to that price and that like time frame soon where it's like, I wonder if what's going to be the better representation.
I think a couple generations removed is probably a good estimate.
Yeah.
I still think a lot of obviously there is price difference between listings on eBay and TCG Player, but I think most of Sword and Shield still fairly accurate.
Yeah, as long as the
TCG
sales
Player.
volume's still high enough, it's more. Actually, when the sales volume starts to get really low on TCG is usually when you start seeing the difference, I think.
Just looking at Lost Origin too, I mean, 56 sales in a month, so or 28 days. That's 2 per day. Like that's maybe a little bit lower than eBay, but it's still fairly in line. But when you look at stuff like you said, the Sun and Moon era, XY era, prices are way off, and sales numbers are completely different too. Even the newer stuff like Prismatic, there's generally a lot more boxes moving through eBay than there is TCG Player at a certain point. Maybe the first few months of release, that's not the case, but maybe a year after, right? There's a lot more going through eBay, I found, for most items.
Yeah, it makes it a headache to try and like do collection buys because a lot of times like when I feel any pushback at all, I just kind of like end the deal and say, hey, just good luck selling it. Like because people get really upset with you when they think the TCG Player price of some Sun and Moon or XY box is like the market price, and maybe it had one sale at some point during the month, and you show them like 5 sales on eBay happening in the last 10 days, and they don't want to kind of come and meet in the middle anywhere. And so it's like that's where it becomes more of an issue, is people kind of thinking if a TCG Player happens once a month on a 10-year-old box, that's the price, and they want 85 or 80% of that price, and it's kind of crazy.
By the way, is there a TCG Player sale this month? Is that happening?
Oh, I don't know.
The Mayhem one?
It's a good
So
question.
they did that last year, right? But
Mayhem,
I haven't seen anything this year about it, but I'm sure chat's going to let us know. The other thing too, I wanted to pick your brain about in regards to eBay. What are your thoughts on GameStop potentially wanting to buy it?
Dude, I'll be honest. I've almost lost respect for the CEO at this point, man. I like the dude. Like I kind of believed in him. And man, when I saw some of those interviews that he was having when he was trying to explain to like the analysts and the reporters on CNBC and stuff what they were doing, I didn't like his answers. I didn't like his press conference. And I don't know. It seems here again from what I took on it, it seems he's trying to make some moves that don't really make sense for like shareholders or for the company, but more makes sense for his pocket because like apparently like I think his pay is based on some sorts of metrics that he's trying to hit much more than like the longevity and things. So I don't know. It doesn't really make full sense to me. I get like I get where the synergies are, but I don't know. It seems kind of weird. It seems like a weird move for the timing.
The CNBC interview was not the
Brutal.
best. Well,
Brutal.
yeah. He did a full interview on, and I've never heard this channel before, TBPN on YouTube. That was posted yesterday. It's about 30 minutes long. It's actually a little bit better. He explained some things that
Okay.
were left out of CNBC. I still don't have any strong opinions on it. I feel like I'm probably not educated enough to have really strong opinions on what that means for the space, but I do like the idea of potentially eBay in general having more access to digital products as well. It kind of seems like things are going that way. So yeah, I can get behind some parts of the vision, but maybe not all
Well,
of it.
here I'll simplify it for everybody. This is just, whether this deal happens or not, it doesn't matter. This is happening. Whether this deal happens, these two companies come together, at some point, this industry is going to continue to consolidate. The products are going to continue to get kind of like mixed together. They're going to keep finding synergies between brands, same way GameStop and PSA have, the same way eBay bought out TCGplayer. This is going to continue to happen. Whether it's eBay, it's GameStop, maybe Fanatics gets involved, maybe Collectors Universe is in there. They're going to find a way to really start to become market makers. And, I think this is just kind of the first steps of it, little things we've seen. And people are going to cry out everything we hear right now. They're going to cry out monopoly. They're going to cry out, all this stuff. But it's going to happen. It's just the way of the world. I mean, this is what free markets do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not like saying I'm for it or against it. I'm just trying to get people ready. Like, this isn't going to go away. Like, people aren't going to just forget this conversation, whether it happens or not. Like, there are going to be talks in boardrooms. There are going to be deals struck. There are going to be, strategies, spoken upon, and how they can, siphon more money off of all this interest in these hobbies. And they're going to find a way to do it.
Yep. You made a video, was it this week or last week too, about Collecticon being purchased? So it's just another example. Yep. It's happening every day, guys, every week. So
Collecticon getting purchased by that company, I mean, they understand entertainment, they understand growth, like they understand doing things on a large scale. It's things are just going to get, they're going to get, I mean, obviously more expensive, but more optimized. I think these markets are going to become more optimized where, money's going to move more freely. It's going to be, I mean, I think like put it this way, like people are always going to be able to make businesses buying and selling collectibles and running collectible businesses. But I think it's going to be a lot less of the middle, like kind of like almost like the middle class, like the middle class of the hobby. I think it's going to be the big guys, and it's going to be the smaller people who can kind of like make enough for themselves, or maybe make enough to support them and like their spouse or their maybe one employee or something. But like, I think there's going to be a lot less of the mid-tier kind of card shops that may have a handful of employees, one shop, they're open, 4 or 5 days a week, and they kind of run some events, they get a little product, they do some trade-ins. I think they're going to get squeezed a lot more than anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wouldn't even be shocked if a big company starts buying out a lot of those, LGSs.
Yeah, like come up with a model on like, and test out that model and almost become like a franchise where they just buy out the LGSs and they kind of, implement their franchise model into it. And then they just keep rolling and they just keep building larger and larger relationships with all the distributors and all these brands and implement whatever, kind of thing they figured out works, right? Like it happens in every industry. Like if you go back, 20 years, I don't know in Canada, but like, I know like at least in my area, there were a bunch of like independent gyms everywhere, like for working out. And now it's all just basically like the few big ones. There's Planet Fitness. There's like, and it's just, it kind of just gets to that way where, people who are kind of smarter business minds, they figure out an industry and they figure out how to optimize it. And then they just take that model and they just start, multiplying it out and kind of crush everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys are getting taken to school today by Alex.
I mean, it's just because it's not like a Pokemon centric or a hobby centric conversation. It's just straight a business like conversation. It's all it really is. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
I still think it's important though that those patterns get recognized because it's it's everywhere in life, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say who I was talking to because I don't know how much he would want like our conversation out there, but like I had a private conversation with another person who does a lot of business in this hobby and been in the hobby for a long period of time, and we were talking about how when the 2016 thing happened and things started to pick up with Pokemon Go and evolutions and stuff, and then the COVID thing happened, you had a lot of people who became rich, basically, who became net worth, broke $1 million, multiple millions of dollars, but they were all like collectors or like hobbyists you know, or maybe some smaller card stores or like, you know, YouTubers, but like there wasn't a lot of those guys weren't business people, right? That they weren't like investors or like knowledgeable at markets. They just kind of, I mean, for lack of a better term, just kind of were in the right place at the right time, kind of got a little lucky with the everything skyrocketing. And then they tried to like shift that into being like these smart business people and investors. And now you're just finding out like, oh, okay, so now the parents are coming, like now the adults are here, like now the people who actually have money, who actually have business knowledge, who actually have expertise and investing knowledge, now they're starting to come in the game. And you're finding out what happens when those people arrive in a hobby, and it's completely different.
Yeah,
that's my take on it.
it's a good take. I'm with
Yeah.
it. Alrighty. Andy the champ. Question: I have a team up booster box and Ancient Origins booster box. Would you sell them now and reinvest into Prismatic ETB cases today? Phantasmal Flames booster box cases, 200 copies of Mega Charizard EX promo? Question mark? Question mark?
What's the EX promo? Is that the Mega Attack Rare?
I think so, right? From the UPC. Pretty sure it's like $47.
Oh man, do you have an answer?
I mean, my boring answer would just be Prismatic. Yeah, why not? You know, I'm a fan of selling older stuff and buying newer stuff, and especially right now after the reprints.
Yeah, I'm not buying Phantasmal BBs at $450 a box. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm taking, if out of that list, I'm taking Prismatic, because even the UPCs, like the promo, I mean, it's definitely not like at its height, as high it's ever been, but it's not at its lows. Singles are just a little more risky. Again, it seems like they printed a lot of those. Seems like there should be a lot of these cards out there, but cards disappear fast when they're big. I still feel safer in the Prismatic ETBs, but I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, that card went on a run and freaking outperformed them. But I'll stick with the Prismatic.
What's the I guess I can look it up too. The Charizard V Star, right? From the Sword and Shield. This one right here. Maybe this is just my take. I think this is a way cooler card than the other Charizard promo. So the fact that this is sitting around 80, and obviously print runs are going to play a role there. They printed a lot of these, but they also printed a lot of the new UPCs. So the fact the other one's already $50 to me, like I wonder how much value is still there for investors. But yeah, I would definitely go with the Prismatic ETBs. I think they're just such a safe bet. Alex and I were talking about this a little bit off stream because he just added to his position of Prismatic. It does seem like a year from now, 2 years from now, you're going to be kicking yourself for not buying more of it.
Dude, here's another example of what I'm talking about, how everything's different now is, so back when the original Charizard UPCs came out in like 2022, I believe, around Lost Origin, they were seen as ridiculously overpriced when they broke $200. Remember that?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like you were stupid for buying them at that point. Well, the Charizard UPCs now are $250, and people still see those as a good pickup and a good play and a good hold. And it's just like, so much has changed. It's a similar product. It's around the same time frame it took for it to get to that price point. Like, you know, like, I don't know. It's just weird how we've completely changed our mindsets. You know, Ascended to Prismatic's completely different, same price point, different mindset. The Charizard UPC, same price points, different mindset now. The whole hobby mindset has changed, price point wise and like age range wise on when to pick up a product, it seems like.
I don't know how you feel about this. And this is kind of like a working thesis I've been, you know, chewing on for the past couple months. I feel like the MSRP conversation has kind of been an anchor for some people over the past year or two.
It seems to be fading.
Yeah, definitely slowly. But the fact that there is an MSRP still and Pokemon hasn't increased it, which maybe they will be in the short term. Brian made a video talking about Korean going up. The fact that that price is still there and it's so low, I think people look at the gap in terms of price between MSRP and market right now and think that things are just insanely overvalued. But at the same time, I think there needs to be an expectation that realistically products should maybe be, you know, MSRP should maybe be $70 for an ETB, $80. Like it kind of seems like we're headed that direction as opposed to ever reverting back to things being, you know, $40 for an ETB or $120 for a booster box.
I agree. Yeah, I'm kind of like in the middle of, you know how Rudy makes those videos now trying to like convince people that $10 a pack should be should be a good
Yeah.
price or whatever. I get what he's trying to say. I think 10 is still going to be a little high, but like, I agree, man. Like, dude, I feel like $5 to $6 a pack it makes sense, right? And if you take like 550 a pack, right? 550 a pack with all the inflation that's happened over the last 30 years in the world, it's pretty reasonable, right? 550 a pack would be like 198 in ETB, I think, or a booster box, which kind of makes sense for an MSRP rise. For an ETB, if there's 9 packs, it'd be like, was that, I don't know, I guess I would put it over 50 and you put the promo card. Maybe the MSRP raises to like 60 or 70 at least. Like, it definitely feels like we're due for something like that. Maybe not as parabolic or as like hyperbolic as like a $10 booster pack, but definitely they need a good rise to kind of shrink that scalping demand or that like margin that's there to immediately go buy everything and try to sell it.
Yeah. I asked Brian about this last week when I had him on too, because he'd always told me the way the market's going to crash, distro is eventually going to get so much product. Stores are going to put in their big pre-orders. They're going to get fulfilled fully, and the people are going to have to flash sale everything. Do you believe that's kind of how the market is going to crash, or is there an alternative that you believe in?
Oh man. I mean, it's definitely how it could crash. It's definitely a possibility. You know, it's weird. I've really noticed this on streams. You know, people will run a price of a setup and a price of a pack up, and it'll keep selling. You know, the price will be like $10 a pack, keep selling like crazy. $12 a pack, keep selling. $14 a pack. It seems like there's always a price point where it gets to where, you know, you'll list it one night higher than it was, and all of a sudden you'll get very, very little sales. And then the next night you run a sale on it and drop it back down, and then, oh, the sales are all back. And so it feels like people do have kind of a price in mind, a ceiling that like the majority of people just like, you hit it and you know it when you hit it. And I think we're kind of finding that with booster boxes now, you know, at least with newer ones, people like just, it seems like the low to mid 200s is like the top people want to spend out of the gate for a brand new set. And so I think there's a price bottom too. I think there's a price point now where people are gonna, you have so much money, again, all those like funds and things looking to spend money, where if boxes get down to a certain point, they're going to see their risk is so low. So they're going to start buying. And I don't know if that's going to be all the way down to the point that we get to distributor pricing. Like that may be like $130 a box or $140 a box where everyone just wants to buy. And it's like, well, if a store is getting them for 195, 105, there's still margin there. They're still going to keep taking them and selling them, making their margin. Like, for to get to the point where no one wants their allocations, you're going to need boxes to go, I don't know, at least 115 to a point where they can't sell them online and ship and pay fees and actually make a profit. And so I just don't know if that's coming in this market. Maybe it seems like more of a fleeting dream every day.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point because I think even take Prismatic, right, as an example. These ETBs dropping 20% on the restock.
Yeah.
I mean, volumes basically doubled on eBay based on what I'm seeing, right?
Yeah.
Going from 30 a day to 60. So if they were $60 or $80, how many would be moving? I agree with you. I think it is maybe a little bit of a pipe dream.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much given up like ever really being able to build large allocations. Like I just kind of do whatever I can. I take whatever I can with my distributors, and I try to get a little more, you know, as I can. But I mean, you know, I just think about all the people that are ahead of me and all the people that are below me in like the totem pole and distribution, that anytime they get a chance to get more of something, they're going to take it. Now, it's harder for the larger stores who are like trying to get all kinds of products, because like they got to worry about taking hits on Magic and Lorcana and One Piece and, you know, all these Star Wars and Gundam. And it's like they're carrying all these games, and you know, they have to start worrying about like, well, if a bunch of different TCGs start going down, you know, having cash flow issues with all of those, which could kind of really slow down their buying. But like, there's a lot of smaller stores that literally are just trying to buy Pokemon. And man, for all of those people to all kind of fall like dominoes and say no to their allocations or not take them all, I mean, I just think we're a pretty long way away from that, if possible at all.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
We're all
Fair
lined
enough.
up like beggars. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we'll take anything we can, man. And then even after you can't make a profit, there's going to be a long period of time after that where people like me are just buying, even though we know we can't make money, just so we can get our numbers up. Like, oh, you're going to give me more? Yeah, get my numbers, run my numbers up. And so it's like, how long is that going to go before people finally just say, we've had our fill, we can't take any more, we have no cash?
Galaxy Grails. Alex, do you know who these guys are?
Yeah, man. The
By the way, shout
best
out
digital
Galaxy
rip site
Grails.
online.
There you go. Coming in late. Don't you think there will be a Blooming Waters type product for Ascended Heroes?
Has to be, right?
Hopefully.
I mean, we had Crown Zenith, Sea and Sky. We had the Blooming Waters. We had, I don't even know what
Great test
Prismatic product is.
boxes.
Countless.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I guess the premium collection maybe would be the best equivalent for Prismatic.
Yeah, there's got
to be something. I'm really hoping. I'm hoping for an SPC or a UPC. Give us like a nice Gengar or a nice Dragonite promo or something in there. Some fire one. Make it a.
Would they really not do that too? Like, come on.
It seems like free money for Pokemon. So yeah, hopefully there's one coming. Zuko as well. Actually, no, Zuko, you're gonna have to wait a second. We did have one more question. Building that up. Question: thoughts on First Partner Collection Series 1 as an investment from Philip?
It's a great question.
Do you have any?
Very small. I think I put one case back there. Dude, I opened them on stream. I listed them. Yeah. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I listed them on stream and sold out in one night of every one I had. And I was just like, whoa. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look back. I can't really think of another product like that. Like Celebrations had stuff, but not like this. And Generations, they had the mythical collections, but they weren't like, I mean, they were promos, but it wasn't as like big of a deal as this. It wasn't like a mystery pack. You just bought the promo box and, you know, I don't know. I think it's probably going to do really well. It's just, here's my problem. Here's why I sold them, right? Is, you know, what's the MSRP on those? Like $15?
I have no clue. I would imagine, yeah.
I think it's like $15. Maybe that was like distro cost and MSRP is a little higher, but dude, they came out of the gate like 4x what like normal retail price was. And I'm just like, that's all. I mean, at what point is a lot of the gain already built in, or is, you know, because that's what it started out in the market, does it have a lot of room to grow still? Because, you know, if booster boxes come out at $200, that's only double what, you know, distro is, right? But these are like quadruple. And so it's like, I got to believe a lot of people got these from, you know, distribution at that $15, whatever price point, whatever it was. And so like, maybe it just continues to like, you know, blast off, but there are going to be a lot more series. Is this going to be the one series everybody wants, or is it going to, you know, are all the series is going to kind of blend together more and kind of really slow down the market? I really don't know. I'm definitely not bearish on it. I mean, I think it's going to be good. I just don't know how it's going to perform in relation to other things.
Yeah, I'm not buying them, but I wouldn't be shocked if people do very well, especially with the Series 1, because you have the Gen 1 starters. I think that alone is enough to make it interesting.
Here, I'll say this. I want to see what the grading numbers come back up like in the next few months. And depending on how hard they are to grade, is going to be like how my expectations of the product. If they come out and they're only getting like 10 or 20% gem rates, that product is going to explode.
It's a good point. That's a really good point. And for anyone who's interested in investing in these, that should be a number or numbers that you're actively tracking right now.
Yeah.
And if they look bad, we're talking 5 to 10%, maybe even a little bit higher. You might want to get in earlier, sooner rather than later, you know? So yeah. Interesting.
What do you think's going on with all these boxes too? Like the Mega Evolution, the Journey Together boxes. Like remember the whole conversation was, are we going to get reprints? And if we do, are they going to have the box toppers? What are these box topper boxes going to mean in the future? Like I'm still waiting to see, because the Journey Together Reshiram isn't doing insanely well, but that Bulbasaur's one of those cards. It's got like a 10% gem rate. It's selling for like $600, I think. And so what's that going to mean for the boxes?
I actually just picked up one box, so I now have a position in Mega Evolution, the enhanced boxes. Because I think you and someone else were probably the people who convinced me to get a little bit of Journey Together, just to have some exposure to the enhanced version.
And you're probably doing good on it.
Yeah, I'm probably up like 15, 20%, maybe 30%, whatever. Yeah. I mean, Journey overall has been very disappointing, kind of expected, but
the cases are really lagging the single boxes for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, well, there's just a ton out there.
Yeah.
You know, when I do the update, in the spreadsheets, the most recent update, there was 900 boxes, a little bit over that, below a 20% increase in price. And I think 700 of that was from one seller. So
Oh,
there's still some very large stores that have a lot of journey, and it's not selling at a strong pace, like maybe a couple boxes per day.
yeah.
So it's one of those things that's just going to take a very long time, I think, for that to be relevant. Now, the Mega Evolution Enhanced box, I agree with you. Way better promo, much more interesting. Gen 1 starter. The set as a whole, too, way better. I
Oh,
like Mega
solid.
Evolution. It's a legit set. So something like that I'm much more excited about. But I agree with you. We haven't really seen that play out yet. And maybe it's something we won't see play out for 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, like who knows. But I think it's fine having some exposure. I like it. Zuko, we'll take your question now. You've been waiting a long time, man. And by the way, everyone else, like we'll try to get as many questions as possible. Do you think there is a chance that the bull run goes longer than we can grind sprint? If I'm being honest, I'm a little burnt out. Much love, guys. You're killing it. No, killing
Killing it. Yeah.
Killing it.
Dude, that is a meme. I swear. I mean, you probably hear it too. I swear, anyone you talk to in this hobby, like, you
I
know,
probably say it. I probably say it
when you
too.
ask like how
Wow.
someone's doing, like, hey man, how's business going? Oh, we're killing it. Like, how'd that show go for you? Oh, we killed it. How'd your live stream go? Oh, we killed it. It's like it's just, I don't know why it's become a meme. It just seems like I get that answer every time I ask someone how they're doing. Yeah,
Do you
dude,
want to
I
take this
know
one?
the fatigue. I
Yeah.
understand. When all this started, I mean, I had like a conversation with my wife about it, and I'm just like, hey, we got to really take advantage of this. Like, I don't know how long this is going to last, and I don't know, like, you know, where this is going to take us, but you know, we're going to have to, like, you know, say bye-bye to a lot of that, you know, time we had at night together and a lot of those date nights and things. And I really got to grind right now. There's a huge opportunity in this hobby. And, you know, in my mind, I'm like, man, this goes 6 months or a year. This is going to be awesome. And here we are, like 2 years from like the time we had that conversation. And I get it. It's just like, dude, we've been sprinting for a long time, and like, hey, I'm still in the race. I'm gonna stay in it, but it's just like, I wonder if this is gonna end, or if we just sprint all the way into the sunset and just like retire here in the next 5 years. I don't know. It just seems like it's only like, you know, speeding up and not slowing down.
What's the I've seen like YouTube shorts and I can't remember the name of the thing, but it's like competition where they get like 100 people and they have to walk, right? And if they stop walking, they get shot. Have you seen that movie? Is it a movie or a series?
Um, the Korean show, right?
Is it Korean? I can't
The
remember. But
Squid Games,
no, it's not Squid
not
Game.
Squid Games.
Someone's gonna let us know in the chat. Either way, it's not relevant. Okay. Point is, you got to keep walking or you die. So I think
The long
there are going to
walk.
be people, exactly. There's going to be people that will get burnt out and they're going to take a break, and that's fine. That's life. Like if you have other things you want to do, you know, you don't have to be here, but there are going to be people who are maybe in Alex's shoes where he was in 2024, let's say, that are maybe just starting going, hey, there's a massive opportunity here. I am going to sprint for as long as I can. And then when I think I'm done, I'm going to keep going for another year, because this might be my path to, you know, generational wealth or whatever. Right. So even if some people get burnt out, there's going to be someone new that just keeps going. Right. And carries the torch. And I
Well,
think a lot of
yeah.
people, when they realize how good they have it, will convince themselves to keep sprinting for another 6 months to a year and really push it. That's at
Yeah.
least how I feel.
And my problem is, like, I'm not one of these, like, you know, online, you know, like hustle guru guys that like just loves work and wants to work every waking moment in my life, right? But I am also like super competitive. And so like these two forces are always going back and forth. It's like, you know, I probably don't like to work as much as I am, but then like I'm always thinking in the back of my head, like Mark Cuban, like there's always someone in business looking to kick your ass. And so it's like a 24/7 sport. And so I'm always like, I'm just competitive. I see how other people are doing, what they're doing. I want to beat their numbers. I want to get ahead. I want to, like, you know, get a bigger stream, bigger channel, bigger numbers. And it's just like, so for me, I'm always battling that like overwork with competitiveness. Cause I'm like, well, if I ever let up, I know someone else is right there looking to take the torch and run with it. So I better not let up, you know? So that's
exactly.
the, you know, kind of in Zuko, only you can make that decision for yourself, man.
I feel the same way too. That's how I look at it. We did have another super chat come in too. Helsing ULH. Thank you for the super chat. Thoughts about the impact of the new facility: more printing, less scarcity, less scalping, less quick returns, stagnation, people leaving the hobby? Question mark.
I just don't know, man. Everything that's come along in like the last, like, I don't know, 5 years that's supposed to be a big deal has never really affected things. Like Millennium, when Pokemon bought Millennium Print Group, that was like the biggest story ever. Pokemon now owns the print facilities. It's over, guys. And then, you know, when like the whole CT scanning, metal detecting, pack weighing, weighting stuff, like, you know, everyone thought that was like the end of sealed product. And, you know, you're not gonna be able to have sealed. No one's gonna want to buy sealed anymore. And then, you know, recently when they bought the distribution arm that supplies to Target or whatever, like, you know, everyone thinks like everything is like Armageddon and every step of the way it's not. And so I know everyone's putting this print facility as like, this is like the end and everything's going to become so widely available. And I'm just like, we'll see it when it comes. Like, I think the best thing to do is just to keep operating in the market with what the market gives you and reacting to what comes. I'm not saying go all in. I'm not saying be stupid, but at the same time, it's like a lot of times when investing, people miss out more than they like make the right move at the right time, right? Like, I think it's more risky to not take action than to sit on the sidelines and wait for some event to happen.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing I'll say too, Helsing, I can't link the video right now. If you message me on Discord, I'll try and find it. But you can also go to Dan's channel, Catch 'em All Collectibles. I think he was the only person on YouTube that actually tried to contextualize what the increase in square footage would actually be
Oh, did he?
for, yeah. So he was trying to
What did he
find
come
like
up
how
with?
much. I want to say, and Dan, I apologize if I butcher this. I
He
want
would
to
do
say
that too.
it was somewhere between a 1 and 2x increase. I'm pretty sure. If I
One and
remember,
two
it's
X.
been a
So one
while,
to
so
two
maybe I'm
hundred
butchering
percent.
that. Yeah. Maybe it was closer to one. Like, again, I'm probably butchering that. I don't think it was anything astronomical though, based on what he found, but we'll see. And you got to remember too, not all of that's going to be for Pokemon. Some of it will be for other games. So like Alex says, I think you just respond to what happens, you know, and act accordingly. Like I think even if they printed, for example, Ascended Heroes very, very heavily, if they doubled what happened with Prismatic, I still think it's going to be an investable set. But maybe that's why right now buying at 180, maybe not the best idea, right? So you can plan accordingly and, you know, place bets maybe a little bit, but when we know when product comes to market, that's when you can ultimately decide what direction you want to go. Don't be too stressed about it at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like what people always, you know, need to understand too. It's like when I say like I'm not buying Ascended Heroes, I'm buying Prismatic, and you know, people talk about how much better a set it is and how much better it's going to do. It's like, okay, well, I think if you take today, May 6, 2026 to May 6, 2027, and you buy Prismatic right now and wait on Ascended and buy Ascended May 6, 2027, or do vice versa, buy Ascended right now and wait till 2027 to buy Prismatic. I think you will be far much worse off if you waited on Prismatic and bought Ascended now instead of the other way around. That's just how I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're
I
not
would
going to
agree
do
with that.
great long term. You're not going to be able to come back and say, I did great on Ascended Heroes. It's just for the time period, for the price point it's already at, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I agree. Do you still operate on vibes for the most part? Like, do you look at market price and just go, this feels good or this doesn't feel good? Or is there a
Um,
deeper level of research you're doing?
well, there's definitely not like a you or Dan or like Pika Pop or any of these guys. I'm not on your guys' level of data, like data analysis, but like, yeah, I mean, I definitely will do research on like, you know, obviously like the past charts, the sales volume based on how many are listed, some of the things you're talking about, the cards in the set, the sales volume of the cards in the set, and kind of the community sentiment on those. you know, like the grading plays and like the gem rates and the premiums on the grades. But yeah, then I always do leave a good portion there, kind of just like you said, for the vibes, for like just my feeling and my intuition on the set based on just the experience. So like it's definitely a mixture. It's definitely not full data driven, I would say.
No, I'm the
Yeah.
same way. I think there's a certain amount that we can't really explain at this point. Like it
It's not
is,
an
you know,
intelligent
feel.
market.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know, that's why it's like some of the people who like just want to do full data, sometimes it falls apart and they're like, well, this doesn't make sense. I'm like, none of this makes sense.
Yep. Absolutely. Shout out Colin one time. Alex, can you please make your background Evo Skies boxes again? Sword and Shield is lagging.
I will go to my storage unit and I will stack them up and make a video there at some point in the future.
There you go. Awesome. I'm looking for more questions too. Thoughts on destined booster bundles, barely a premium compared to loose packs and far cheaper per pack than booster boxes and ETBs, also similar price to SV bundles.
Man,
I wonder if they're talking about SV base because it is technically an SV bundle. I can take this first and you can say what you want after. I think there comes a time where obviously if you're buying an MSRP every product, booster boxes better play than the bundles. There comes a time though where the price per pack becomes so high in a booster box or an ETB that it probably makes sense to buy the bundles. And we're probably there on Destined at this point. So I don't hate the play. I actually bought a case as well earlier this year when they were like $42, $43 USD, something like that.
That's a good price. Yeah, I think the bundles definitely make sense at a certain price point. This could be them. I'm trying to look up what they're actually going for right this second. So they're about about mid-ish to high 70s right now.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And so what is that for per pack? About let's say $78 divided by 6, so $13, and then 600 divided by 36, about $16. I mean,
is that all it is?
Yeah, it's a little 600 divided by 36. Yeah, 1666.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like the bundles were a lot better play like a month or two ago.
Yeah,
I think
I
now
agree.
they're still like there's still a bit of a play there, but they're not like as obvious as they were back when they were like in the 50s and 60s, I would say.
I think Alex is right. After this run up now towards 70, $80 a bundle, it might not be the best anymore. Yeah, it's a good shout. But you know, when there's a 50%, 100% gap in price per pack,
Yeah,
that's when bundles
yeah,
really make a lot
bundles
more sense.
they're a really popular product now. Like they've really come into their own.
Yep. Question. Is the new set hype or is Ascended actually the best set since Sun and Moon?
Since Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon what? Like
Hey, I don't shoot the messenger. Look, I would say it's definitely not just hype. Ascended is a very in-demand set based on what
deal.
I'm seeing on eBay. And I don't know for Alex in terms of packs and he's selling, but a lot more Ascended moving than Prismatic at same time period.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I think it a little bit has to do with that because it's so kind of on an island. Like obviously Phantasmal is right there, but I mean Perfect Order, maybe Chaos Rising saves some pressure off. I mean, you got to remember Prismatic got released right after Surging Sparks, right before Journey Together and Destined Rivals. It had a lot of other big sets to take the heat off of it. Dude, Ascended just doesn't have a lot to take the heat off of it for a long time. And so I just think it's just going to be even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the short term, like they need to put more out, but it's just, yeah, we ripped another like 450 packs last night of Ascended. I mean,
There you go. What do you charge per pack right now for Ascended?
15.
Yeah. Market.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's at today. You know, I mean, it changes like by the day, I feel like. But if we look at Ascended Heroes on TCG right now, it looks like it's yeah, it's right around 14 now. So it looks like it dipped a little bit. It was like high 14s when I was listing them. So maybe we can adjust them a little bit and just kind of play the market. But yeah, it was 15 last night.
I guess I can throw this up on screen for anyone curious. It's definitely the real deal though. Mike 2929 question: how much impact do you guys think rip and ship will have on future supply?
Everything. As I said in the video, so it's the X factor. It is what is different about the hobby now than was different back during the COVID times. Because after the COVID times, when things like came down, you had a lot of product coming to market because it was still out there. This time it's like there's product out there, but man, it is getting ripped at such a rate now that we've never seen before. I mean,
Mhm.
Whatnot was still kind of in infancy back then. Like, PokeRev was doing breaks, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, it seems like 1 out of every 10 people you talk to in the hobby now is a streamer.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
crazy.
Mhm. I can't remember who I was listening to recently. They were also talking about the psychology of rip and ships too. And I was it $100 or $200? Anything below that's considered like an impulse purchase, right? So
Really?
for a lot of people, if they're only spending, $100, $150, maybe they're opening 5 to 10 packs, whatever. I don't know what your average size would be. If you have those numbers, if you don't. I wonder if Dan has those numbers too.
Dan absolutely has those numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
That can't, yeah,
Um
I'm gonna tell him you even question that.
Hey, I didn't want to say anything with certainty, right? I didn't want to gas him up too much just in
Yeah,
case, but
I think I'm gonna use the G word on that.
yeah.
I'm gonna use the
Point
G
being
word.
though, right? If it's an impulse thing, that makes it even I'm more bullish on rip and ships, probably just because it's something where if someone wants to open packs, right? Like, are you gonna drive to the store and try and, buy a couple packs from Walmart or your LGS, or you want to just click a couple buttons online? I think it's the ease at which you can open packs is something that we haven't seen in the past. So I'm very bullish on it.
So my average order size for the last 30 days is coming up at 188.
There you go. Yeah.
However, that is average. It's not
Hmm.
median. So median's likely a lot lower, because, someone or a big whale comes in, orders all kinds of packs, or like last night we sold a couple white Charizard UPCs, which are insanely expensive. So it's like that really throws it off. But I'm sure the median's probably down there around that lower hundreds.
Hmm. Yeah. And the fact that the average, which is even higher, is still under like a couple $100,
Yep.
that's that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I am looking for more questions. Lots and lots of comments. Why does it have to be eBay or TCG player? Why can't the data use both? I think most people should probably look at multiple sources, and I think most vendors and buyers and sellers do. The reason why I've tracked eBay data, and I'm only speaking for myself here, is because TCG player doesn't tell the whole story. So I would agree. Like you should use multiple sources to get a more holistic idea of what's going on.
Yep.
Yes, on Mayhem, end of May. Okay, Rich TCG bets. Thank you. That is good to
Oh,
know.
that's gonna be bad.
We'll see what happens
It's
there.
gonna be ugly.
It's always fun to cover what happens on that day. Uh, very live chat, very live chat.
I know, I like it.
DC's in here too. We have
We're
about
300
330
live in here,
people.
baby.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a solid stream.
That's the nostalgianomics effect, baby. Let's go.
Love it.
Sir Jeppy, question: what do you believe to be the next frontier of the hobby? Like how not many people a few years ago would predict digital rips would be so popular. Would collectible asset shares be next?
I think that's the next frontier. Yes, I've had multiple companies, two different companies, reach out to me at this point. Neither one I wanted to promote or do a deal with yet. It seems like it's still early, but there's a lot of people trying to find a way to basically hold your inventory, hold your sealed inventory, and then you would trade it like a stock, right?
Hmm.
You would trade the cases. There'd be no need for shipping, insurance, movement of the product at all, and they would all trade as basically shares, and they'd all be kept in a secure, safe facility, and there'd be a very small percent taken off the top for that. But I think eventually, especially with USPS and UPS and all these rates getting crazier and crazier, packages getting stolen, packages getting lost, more and more like investing focused types getting in the hobby. They don't necessarily need to hold and see their collectibles. They're trading them as assets. I think that will eventually be the next stage, when someone finally finds a way to kind of perfect it and it gets enough kind of market acceptance. I think that could be the next frontier.
I would agree with you. I think it's something that we probably need in this space, honestly, especially when you consider all the theft that goes on and all the issues there. It's going to be a slow adoption, I would imagine, unless it's like a very large company coming in trying to do it. But I work with many people that for them, they don't want to have a house full of products. They don't want to have to deal with a storage unit. And one of the options might be you go with, let's say, Black Label Fund, right? That Austin's running, where they're taking a 2% management fee and you're not actually going to be owning any of the physical products. You're not going to have to worry about storing them, selling them, any of that. The other thing might be go with one of these companies where you technically own the physical product, but you don't actually have to deal with storing it or selling it or anything like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
The easy part, like, and that's kind of what I've told some of these guys that have reached out. It's like the easy part is actually the business, like, getting a secure facility, getting all the, insurances you may need or any security you might need, all that, like actually setting up the business. And the hard part is finding the customers. It's finding people who want you to hold their product, who want to transact that way, who like, are okay with saying, okay, I bought 10 Prismatic Evolutions ETB cases. Okay, it gets transferred your ownership. You can log on like you can your Charles Schwab portfolio and track them like a stock, with the markets. And then whenever you want to sell it, you can put them up for sale. And there's someone there that wants to buy them, right? Like, so like the liquidity of the transactions, that's going to be the hard part to get enough acceptance for it to happen. But man, once you had freaking thousands of people, even a few thousand people on there, I mean, it should trade, especially, depending on how much under market you're willing to take. Somebody wants to buy a position, boom, you list it, they put a buy order in, you have a sell order, it goes off, boom, the money gets transferred to your account, the ownership gets transferred into their name, now they own those shares. I love the idea. I just don't know how it, to get the acceptance and how it actually, goes in the real world, but the idea is good.
I think, and maybe it's not the best comparison, but I think the model's already been proven, at least in my opinion. Like when you look at the PSA vault for graded cards, right? It's basically the same thing. Like you're sending your property, and sure, it's a slab, not a sealed product, to PSA. If you want to sell it, they'll throw it up for auction or buy it now. They sell it, they pay you out, right? It's probably going to be a fairly similar process, obviously a bit different for sealed products, but I think once you have some level of adoption, it's going to be something that becomes very popular.
Yeah, and take over. Black Label Fund is it's a friend of ours, Austin, but basically it's a management fund who basically you would invest in like you would a hedge fund. They invest, they make all the plays and have all the expertise and invest for you. And basically, you take advantage of all the growth of all the products, and you only pay them 2% for doing all this for you. They make all the deals, they buy the products, they hold them and store them all, insure them, whatever. They make the sales and make the transactions in the end. You share in, all the profits, short of your 2% management fee. So
Yeah, and I did have Austin on a live stream, so you can go back and check that out if you're curious, or come hang out next Thursday. He's going to be on again, and you can ask him questions about it as well.
that
This
launch
is
day?
I wonder, we might launch early next week and then just do the live stream on Thursday. We might line it up whatever way. So
Cool.
yeah, it's going to be a fun week. It's going to be a fun week. This is a good question from Takeover as well. Traditional investment knowledge would lead me to believe we should be selling into a bull market, but you both are continuing to buy. Can you please elaborate on your strategy and thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, at what points, if you're talking about, because he used the word traditional investment knowledge. I mean, I'm looking at the last 5 years of the S&P. At what point on that would you have stopped investing? Would you have stopped investing in 2024 because you were up a certain percentage? Would you have stopped investing in 2025 because it was up another percentage? Are you going to stop investing now because it's at all-time highs? I think good investments you continue to average into over time. You don't really sell your investments until you're ready to sell them for whatever reason. You're ready to retire. You're ready to, just diversify, divest, move to something else. I mean, there's many stocks and mutual funds and indexes that people continue to buy, whether they drop, whether they're up, whether all-time highs or lows. So yeah, I mean, I'm not selling because I believe in Pokemon long term, and if certain things dip, I can always dollar cost average in, but I still have the long term strategy. That's my answer.
Yeah, I agree with Alex in saying that I still believe in Pokemon long term. And I think the fact that rip and ships are still very prevalent and popular and people are, putting money into those, I see a path forward for my sealed product. The other thing too that's different from traditional investments is, when you look at the S&P, right? Like sure the companies in there are changing, but you're investing in the same product. Whereas with Pokemon, there's new sets coming out all the time. There's reprints and restocks coming. There are things and sections of the market that will not move for a very long period. So sure, maybe Ascended Heroes and some other ultra modern products are up 200, 300%, but Sword and Shield hasn't moved in a year, right? Or Prismatic, because it's had so many reprints, it hasn't gone on a crazy run. So the things that I'm investing in right now, I'm not investing in Phantasmal at 450 a box or Destin at $600. I'm investing in Prismatic because it's a very popular set that's still being opened at a crazy rate that's had all these reprints and brought the price down. So I'm being very selective right now. And that's why I feel maybe a little bit more confident than the average person.
Yeah, and take like 401 or take S&P out of it. Like I'm looking at my A&D stock and I'm like, well, in 2020 this was a $42 stock. In 2021 it ran to 145. Do we sell it because it's up 200%? And you could have sold it and it did drop back down to the 70s, but then it ran up to the 180s. Do you sell it then? Late last year it ran up in the 200s. Do you sell it then? Right now it's sitting at 419. Do we sell it now? Like, you know what I'm saying? This is like every time you would have said you need to sell this, you need to sell this. Like you've missed out on exponentially more gains every single time by not just holding and riding the waves. And so I think if it's something that you believe in this case, Pokemon, certain sealed products, I think you continue to ride the wave long term, and you're not worried about the ups and downs in the short term.
This isn't a question, but we'll gas you up a little bit here, Alex, from Poke Collect. Honestly, Alex, you've changed my life. I would say you are almost an idol at this point.
Well, dude, I appreciate it. I mean, the change your life thing, dude. I mean, I'm sure you get people like this too now. It makes every bit of hate online worth it. Anytime someone like this says something like that, because there's so many people I know that have either watched my channel, your channel, other channels that have literally changed their financial situation, their lives because of Pokemon in the last 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever years. And every one person that says that is worth like 1,000, people hating on me for whatever reason online. And so Poke Collect, I'm so glad to hear that. Glad for all your success, and glad the videos helped, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get the same stuff and feel the same way though. It makes it all worth it.
I always tell people though, it's not because I did anything, right? Like, the person has to watch the videos.
You got to take action.
You got to take action, right? And go to multiple sources. Don't just watch my channel or Alex's channel. Like watch everyone's channels. Get a very holistic view of what's going on, because I have my biases. I mean, a great example, One Piece. Sure, I did well with booster boxes. I thought the first anniversary set was not a good play when it was like $200, and that's now $4,000 a year later.
Do you have any?
I don't. No, I didn't think the product was. I mean, the cards I wasn't a fan of, and
what is that? The EB set, or what's the anniversary set?
No, so Bandai every year they release like an anniversary box. It's a really special, and in hindsight, right? Like I look really stupid. It's got all the Straw Hats in it. So Luffy, Nami, Sanji, Zoro, all of them. And it's a really unique art style. Those are now going for 4K, and they come out the gate at, I think MSRP is like $100, 150, something like that. So it was
like what,
it was a big miss.
It was 200 out of the gate. So you didn't pay double.
I just didn't think they were the best place to put my money.
I get it.
I did well with the boxes, but that was a 20x.
Yeah, that's why the hindsight. It's so funny, you could play this game forever. It's so hard in the moment, though,
But if people were smart, and a lot of people were very smart, they listened to other people. They did their own research. They ended up picking them up. So, that's, I get stuff wrong all the time. I'm definitely fallible.
Well,
so
yeah,
it is good though. It is good when people, stop by and they say you've helped change their life though. It's it's more rewarding just to see people taking action and, you know, improving, because life is tough, man. Life's tough. So when people tell me they're doing better, that's awesome.
Hey, let's expound on that too, guys. What he just said there, I get a lot of stuff wrong, and I don't know what he's talking about, but like I'm sure a lot of the stuff he got wrong isn't losing money. So a lot of the stuff I get wrong, right? That is things I miss usually. Like I'll get them wrong, as in I didn't take advantage of them. I get very few things wrong where I lose money, and that is the most important thing when it comes to investing: is not losing. Don't go backwards. It's okay to miss out on 3, 4, 5 plays, right? Or do worse on the plays you bought. The main thing is do not lose. And like I've if that's what it takes to be wrong, I'll keep being wrong again and again and again. But I keep taking very high percentage plays, even if they're not the highest performing plays. It's just about keeping your money, man. Keeping your money, compounding and growing. You know, compounding and growing 5, 10 different plays at a lower percentage rate is much better than hitting 2 home runs and losing on 8 plays. It's just not worth it.
Yep. Well said. Alrighty. By the way, how are we doing on time?
Oh, we're good.
We're good. All right,
We're
cool.
good.
Question from Solus Cards: is it a mistake to break down collection boxes / tins into loose packs? Is there a big difference in the price you could get from, say, a vendor at a show?
I guess it depends on the box, right? Because a lot of collection boxes, you know, vendors are going to value much lower than like a booster box or even an ETB. So I guess it depends on the box, the promo, the packs. I think it's an item by item basis, honestly.
I would agree. And I think overall now, it's maybe less relevant keeping it in a sealed box just because so many people rip and ships. I know Alex is buying loose packs from people, right? So
Perfect
if
example.
he's
Perfect
he's
example is
buying
like one of these.
Yep.
Like, I don't think you're going to get much of a premium on the box as you are the 4 packs of Ascended Heroes. Like stuff like that, you know. Now, if it's something like older, maybe.
Do you pay less if you're doing a deal if someone's sending you the sealed boxes just because you're gonna have to factor in time breaking them down?
I don't. Because at the end of the day, they do have like promos in there, which I can, you know, recoup some money on. And so that kind of makes up for it. And I just kind of accept it and make a little bit back on the promos, and then it kind of makes up for the time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, the only other consideration I think for you, Solus, or anyone else would be space, obviously. But again, like, you know, you'd obviously have to have a lot of collection boxes for that to even be a consideration, I think.
Yeah.
So for most people, it's not even going to be something you probably have to worry about. Ice the BB question: with Wind and Waves releasing in projected Q4 in, are they talking about the game?
Is that
Because
the
Q4 2027.
is that the new set, like new whatever generation? Is that what it's called?
Maybe. Yeah. Does that,
Q4?
well, and he said 2027 too, so that's next year, right? I thought it was earlier than that, but could be wrong.
I guess Mega Evolution is going to be a long era.
Does that mean Wind and Waves TCG will release around that time or before? No clue. No clue. I was under the impression this was happening a lot sooner than what you're saying in your comment there.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to this. I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe chat will be able to help you out.
People are saying games usually come out in November, so I guess that would make sense.
Yeah, it would line up. Interesting. Sorry, we're not more helpful there. Question: card hype. Does it feel like people think they deserve to get cheap product or product in general in this hype market? Seems like people don't understand this is a luxury product line.
That's a question that'll get us killed.
I'll take it. I don't care.
Okay, go ahead.
And by the way, like I'll say this because there were times in my life where maybe I acted this way too. When I was a lot younger and dumber. I'm still dumb. Obviously not young anymore though. But I think there's a lot of people in life that feel they deserve things when they don't. Right? You have to earn your keep in life. There's no free pass, and it's been one of those things where I think just in society in general, culture in general, It's more like me nowadays compared to maybe past generations where it was more we, my family, and just we've moved away from a merit-based society in a lot of ways where people just and part of that's probably government handouts. You look at DEI, right? Equity, like all this stuff that's really put people in positions maybe they shouldn't have been in. So I think it's just a cultural thing now where people expect more than they really deserve, right?
100%, dude. You hit the nail on the head. Our parents, our grandparents' generations. Um, could you imagine saying work-life balance? If you didn't have enough money coming in, what'd you do?
Mhm.
You went out and got a second freaking job. You went out and picked up more hours at work, right? You cut back on things. Like you figured out a way.
Yep.
Nowadays, it's no, I should be able to work 40 hours a week and I should be able to do this job and it should be able to pay for every single thing that everyone else has that I want. And that's the way life should be. And to explain to some people that it just doesn't work that way, it's getting harder and harder. And who knows, man? Maybe that's the thing of the past. Maybe enough of those people exist now, and they'll vote enough politicians in to give out enough things, and they won't ever have to struggle. I don't know. I don't know where life goes. I'm just trying to do the best I can for me and my wife, and get enough put away to where at least we can have a good life, and we'll let the politics and the laws and everything sort themselves out, and just live by it. But it is definitely a huge generational shift where you used to do whatever it took to get by compared to now where it's just like, well, no, I'm only going to do this much and anything over this, I shouldn't have to do, but I should still get everything I want. It's crazy.
Yeah. And by the way, like anyone listening to this who's maybe a hater or whatever, we're not saying that this is how life should be, right? Like you should be working, 12, 15 hours, 20 hours a day every day. Like that's what humans were meant to do. It's just the reality that that's what you have to do to get by now and succeed at times. Not for everyone, obviously, but if you want to get to a certain place in life and you're not doing enough to get there right now, the only way you're going to get to that point is by doing more than you're currently doing. Right? So the alternative to not working harder to get to where you want to go is you don't get there. And there's, hards on each side, right? Like being rich is hard, getting there is hard, being poor is hard, being fat is hard, staying in shape is hard. So you really do choose your hard.
Yeah, and like I said, I said this in a stream with Eli this week. I don't judge anybody that I don't know. But I'll judge people I know that I know, that I've known my whole life, that know their lives, their families, their situation. And it's like, bro, some of these people I know, they're friends of mine. It's like you grew up in the same situation I did, same neighborhood. Our parents made around the same amount of money. We went to the same schools. We had the same education, the same opportunities. And I know what kind of money you make, and I know you live here. I'm like, so I know it's easy for I know all this stuff's bullshit that you're saying. It's like I know you can live off your $90,000 a year salary in Missouri. You're just complaining because you want to do this and that and travel to Japan and go to all these concerts and go out and drink and drive a freaking $1,000 car payment and live in this house. And it's like, that's why you're struggling. It's not because life's too hard. It's because you're stupid, And so like, I have all friends, I'll just tell them that. And because I know they're terrible financially, but like other people, there's actually people struggling out there. And I don't judge those people. I don't know their situation or their living conditions, but it's like, man, some people, man, they just need a reality check. And it's like, I'll give them a reality check if I know literally everything about them. I'm like, dude, you got to come to terms with the fact that you're screwing up. It's not the government. It's not the living. It's you, So I think a lot of people, there are people struggling, but a lot of people can look themselves in the mirror and be like, man, I am blowing a lot of money. I'm being very stupid financially. I need to cut back and live within my means, and I can get a lot further ahead.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Hot take from Brian. TCGplayer is only relevant to the normal viewer because of its charts. If eBay also charted data like a stock TCGplayer, it'd be the top dog. Yeah. I don't think you're wrong. I would say in general, not a lot of people, and maybe Alex disagrees with this. I don't think most people care about the sales data on TCGplayer and anything like that. Like people are only going there to look at the graph and look at market price and look at the nice, beautiful photo of the product. So I'm on board with it. I don't think it's that hot of a take.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it is weird that eBay has done no implementation of either way, like any of their, like perfect example. They don't use their plain white envelope system with TCGplayer to have tracked envelopes. And then vice versa. They haven't had used any of TCGplayer's like charting data for eBay. It's like, it's really weird how they bought TCGplayer and they are literally keeping it its own entity. They are like just not sharing any different like things that each other's businesses did well. It's strange.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if GameStop buys eBay, that'll
Right.
change. Yep.
I'll be honest, if GameStop does that and they implement their power packs into the eBay lives and stuff, it could be there. Like I said, there are
By the way, they
opportunities
would
there.
definitely do that.
Yeah,
100%.
there's opportunities. It's
Yeah.
not the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's just, man, the CEO's explanation of everything just didn't make sense. Maybe he just didn't explain it well. I don't know.
The CNBC interview, I don't think was that good. I think if people watch the long form stuff he's done, like the longer form stuff,
Yeah.
he
Or maybe
does
he
a
just
better
like
job.
he like didn't like them and didn't just wanted to screw with them. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? Question from Michael. Where/how do you teeter the line of investing and collecting? Example, if you're certain Ascended Heroes will do better than Chilling Reign, but you'd rather have Sword and Shield booster than Ascended Heroes ETBs, which would you choose? Look, I'll say this before Alex answers. I don't teeter the line. Like something's either an investment or it's a collection piece for me. And right now, I only have one thing that I technically consider a collection piece. It is a law manga that I pulled in a PSA 10. Everything else is an investment.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could call it a collecting piece, but I think unless you're like, just infinitely wealthy and money doesn't mean anything to you, I think there's always going to come a price point where you're going to think of it as an investment. You're going to think about selling it.
Yeah.
I've had lots of cards and lots of items throughout like my time where I bought them as a collecting piece, and because the market has went crazy, I ended up selling them because it was almost irresponsible at that point to keep. And so at this point, anything I have as like a collection piece are very inexpensive random items that have very little value, that literally like would make no difference if I owned them or sold them. And those are the only true collecting pieces. Anything that has value or is rising with the markets and like that's all basically an investment or inventory to me.
Just looking for more questions here
Yeah.
too. I guess we can talk about this one from Francisco. What's up, guys? Sorry if you're only talking about sealed. We're not. We're definitely not. But what do y'all think about how they evolved Magikarp? Underrated, overrated, or question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark?
Dude, I mean, it's expensive. I think in a PSA 10, it's like $4,000 now or something.
I'll throw it up on $4,000 in a 10?
I believe.
Oof. Wow.
I believe. I'll look it up.
Let's see.
I think it's 203, right?
TCGplayer is very slow today. 380 ungraded. I didn't realize it's
So,
making
last sales are like 3,500, 3,550, 3. So between 3 to 3,500. Yeah. I mean, I know that it's very, very hard to grade. Let me click on one of these. It is 3,915 tens out of 24,000 graded. So it's a very hard gem rate. I know it's the best card in Paldea. I know Paldea boxes are expensive. And I know it's decently hard to pull because there are so many illustrations in that set. So pulling a specific IR is pretty hard. Like, I don't know, maybe it's 1 in 4 or 500 packs. But I don't know, man. That seems, it's at the point now where it's just like, is it overrated, underrated? I mean, I guess you could say it's properly rated. I mean, but as an investment, I just don't know how much meat's on the bone there at that price. And I think it's still a little risky.
And I think this goes back to what Alex was saying when, we were talking about getting things wrong, right? Like, and I'm with Alex when he says that, like, when I get things wrong, it's more that I didn't buy certain things that I could have made money on. It's not losing money. The reason why I feel like I'm pretty good at not losing money is I don't dabble with singles at all, right?
Yeah.
So when I look at a PSA 10, $3,500, which by the way, this was a card ungraded 2 years ago at this point. That was what, $20, $30, and it's now going for $400. Like it's it's not something that I feel great about putting money into. And in this space, sure, like the vibes that I operate on at times, I want to feel great about something. If there's no other reason for it. So yeah, this would be a card I would avoid. But again, that's my bias.
All right, so now I gotta throw something else at you to make you rethink everything.
All right, let's do it.
All right, hold on. Let me pull up the bubble Mew too.
Yep.
I want to.
Let's do it.
All right, I just want to look something up real quick on the pull rate.
Go for cards here. Hey? I guess I can put in Mew EX. That'll come up better.
And that'll give me time to pull us up. And you guys are gonna like this exercise because it's gonna get you to like think about things even more different than we are right now. All right, so let me throw this one out there now. The bubble Mew has almost 16,000 PSA 10s, and it's going, and there's 46,000 graded. So it's about 1 in every 3 almost get a 10. Okay. Mm-hmm. The pull rate on the bubble Mew is, trying to find it. All right. So 1 in 32 is SIR. So 1 in 465 to pull the specific SIR out of Paldea and Fates. In Paldea Evolve, the Magikarp is 1 in 40 or 1 in 480. So, I mean, nearly identical pull rates, 1 in 465, 1 in 480. Mm-hmm. The bubble Mew, much easier to grade. It's 2,850. The Magikarp's 3,500 to $3,000. Now, does it make sense?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It plays tricks on you, right? Like
well, look, I'm not saying that it's overvalued compared to other singles. I think based on where the whole market is, it makes sense.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Personally, I just look at the whole graded market.
Yes.
And again, it comes back to trying not to lose money. What happens if collecting TCGs, trading cards, slabs, what if that just drops in pulp culture? You know, what's going to happen to all these slabs, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I alluded to earlier. It's like the whole market's ridiculously crazy. The value of the Magikarp, I believe, is like properly valued for the insanity of this hobby right now. But yes, I think everything is insanely priced because we've thrown fundamentals out the window on how we value these things. It's kind of like the new cards. Look, I've never seen a time in the last 10 plus years I've been in this hobby where we valued some of these, like, Ascend to Heroes cards that literally have their pop reports are coming out and they're like 50 to 60% 10 rates, and they're being valued at like 4x what the raw price is. That's never happened before ever in this hobby, even during COVID. Like, for you to have a 4x on a card that's that easy to grade is insane. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of these multiples don't make sense for how easy the grade is and what price the raw cards are. And so all of it's crazy to me. But in terms of like comparing it to what else is on the market and what else things are going for, I guess it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, I think we agree on that. Shiny packs. I'm going to try and get through as many. We'll go a little bit rapid fire. We are catching up on chat though. What's your take on other language Pokemon?
I don't touch them. But it's just strictly because I just don't want to dive in and try to, understand or become an expert in other markets. English, I mean, in my opinion, is like the most transacted, it's the most collected. And so that's what I stick with. I want to be in the biggest pool of buyers where the most liquidity is. The riches can be in the niches, but you can also get crushed in the niches too. And so I like to stay away from that. Again, it goes back to what we were talking about. I'd rather continue to miss out than to be wrong and lose money.
Yeah. Yeah. I think English is the way to go. Language exclusives can do very well in multiple games, not just Pokemon, but
even
English
these Chinese
overall
ones.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Again, it depends on how much risk you guys want to take. If you want to go for some of these things, you really believe in it, you could crush the gains I'm talking about. Like, it's too risky for me.
Mm-hmm. We sound like old boomers at this point, man. Just put your money in the bonds, a few ETFs.
Here's the problem.
Percentage points.
You talked to me like 2 years ago. Dude, I'm like uber bullish on anything with the name Pokemon on. I think I said that in a video. Put Pokemon on a rock and buy it. Dude, the longer we get into this bull run, like we're like 2 years in now, the longer this goes, the probability of things slowing or having a downturn gets greater and greater. So it's like, I'm not as all in as I once was like 2 years ago, when it was like so much more obvious. Like there's still like what I would consider more obvious plays, but man, starting to throw money at these random, Chinese exclusives, random Japanese product, it gets scarier and scarier.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Because you got to remember, those are going to Spanish, Korean, Chinese, those are going to go down first. Like English isn't going to go down first.
It's the same thing with, alternative TCGs, One Piece, Dragon Ball, Riftbound. I think some of them will do well. I'm still very bullish on One Piece, but
I was going to say, I think One Piece is established enough yet. But yeah, definitely Dragon Ball, Riftbound, Gundam.
I saw someone shared something in the Discord, and I haven't confirmed it yet, but the leaks for OP17, if they're real, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good set. So could be another big anniversary year for One Piece. We'll see though.
What are you doing now? Are you still like pretty heavy?
Yeah, I'm not buying anything new. Even like 14, 15, which I think is pretty good value, around like $200 a box. I've just thought Prismatic's like a way better. And a couple months ago it was Ascendant, like $100 in ETB in a case, $1,000 a case. It was a no brainer.
Right.
So, and obviously that's not popular with the hardcore One Piece audience, but it's like, guys, I invest in both games. Like, I'm not going to just invest in something for the sake of making a YouTube video about it.
Well,
like,
I'm sure your Pokemon audience was sick of hearing it, 6 months ago.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, but I think there will come a time where it's a better place to put your money. Y2 Pokey, Black Bolt bundles or ETBs for investing. So I'm looking at it right now. Can I throw this up on screen? Yes. Okay. The bundles, and this goes back to the equation we were doing earlier, $70. So that's like a little bit less than $12 a pack. 125 for ETBs. So that's what, $14? 90 and 36. So like 14 versus 12. I think the gap is probably close enough still that it makes sense to go with the ETBs. That would be my gut instinct.
It's just crazy. The cases are gone, man.
Yeah.
The lowest case in the market now is $5,000. So like not even a real price. It's like, I don't know. It looks like they had some cases sell at 18, 2,300. Yeah. 1,700. I mean, I guess the case is up there in the near $2,000 range. I mean, it's not 5, but 2,000 is still crazy. So basically a Black Bolt case is around the same price as Prismatic and Ascended Heroes.
Wow.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, I think
nobody kept it.
We have to do the 1 year chart now. I remember making so many videos when this, July to early January, right? It was very, very flat. Supply was coming down. It was only a matter of time before this happens. Yeah. And I think we're just going to keep see it continue to creep up towards 130,
what's so funny about that time period too? I kept getting asked about it on streams, and that was around the time when Prismatic, I believe, was like cheaper. So it's like when Prismatic was closer to that price point, I said, well, it doesn't make sense to buy Black Bolt, even though it's probably going to do well. It just makes more sense to buy Prismatic. Well, then Prismatic ran up, and I'm like, well, now it makes a lot more sense. But then Ascended Heroes came out, and like, well, Ascended Heroes obviously makes more sense. But now Ascended Heroes is 180, 200. Now it's like, okay, Black Bolt makes a lot of sense again. It's only 120. And so it's like it constantly goes through these modes where it doesn't make sense, and it does. I mean, right now, dude, there's nothing else out there that makes, now that Prismatic and Ascended are both up there in the higher hundreds. I mean, it's really just that and Shrouded Fable, the only specialty sets left, and Shrouded Fable, So yeah, Black and White make a lot of sense right now.
I think if people don't want to buy if they don't want to buy Prismatic, I think Surging's a good option. And I think Black Bolt is also a decent option. And again, like they might not be the best investments, but they're fairly safe investments, in my opinion. So
they've got something that sets need to rise, and they have those high end chase cards that are some of the most expensive cards in the era. And that is always drive sets.
They're running up too. I put this in a video the other day. The Zekrom and the Victini's over 500 again too. So
I mean, that's up there with some of the top cards in the entire era. I mean, what's more expensive than that, really? Not much.
Yeah. Bubble Mew, the Umbreon, maybe Sylveon at this point. It's getting back to 500.
Maybe Mewtwo.
The Mewtwo as
I mean,
well. Good
151
shout.
Charizard isn't even that much.
Yeah. There's a lot of those. a
There is.
lot
It's
of the
just crazy to
Charizards.
say that. It's
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Let's see. You had mentioned a potential sponsorship with an insurance company, but you were waiting for them to expand to the US. Any updates? Yes. So I reached out to them about 2 weeks ago at this point. They said reach out again end of May. So they're having just a few issues getting it all worked out, which makes sense. And it was something they had told me initially. It might have been like, fall, right? Before they're set up, ready to go. But when they're set up, ready to go, I'll start promoting it. Um, they're a good company. Like I reached out to their CEO on Instagram. That's how it all came about initially. And he's a good dude. So yeah, once that's in place, I'll definitely let you guys know.
what's going on? Like, how big is this company?
They're not huge. I don't think they're a huge company.
You're rubbing shoulders
They
with the CEO?
yeah, I mean, I found his Instagram and I was like, why not? Why not just reach out, ask?
That's wild.
And we sat down, had a call. Um, I gave them an offer they couldn't refuse, right? So it's it's coming. It's coming for sure. And by the way, I feel like that's how probably 90% of like good sponsorships work is you just reach out and ask, right? Like I mean, maybe sometimes they come to you, but I feel like the ones that I've really worked for in the past, it's been a two-way thing. So,
Interesting.
yeah, any creators, I mean, you can work with whoever you want if
Yeah.
you have the value there. So, it's coming. It's coming. I'm looking for question marks. I should do what you and Eli do, which is, get them to say
Oh,
question.
the
I
question.
sometimes forget to
Looks like
do
some
that.
people are starting to do that.
Yeah, it does help a lot. What do you guys think the top point in 2026 will be to sell high on celebrations?
I
Do you have
think
any celebrations still?
I have a little bit. Still have some of my UPCs and some ETBs. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta think it's gonna be later in the year, more than likely, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, top point. I'm sure there'll be new tops forever, but as far as like
Mhm.
a point where the gains are going to be diminishing, I think I'd give it a few more months and see how the anniversary release does, and kind of let the hype kind of go through, and maybe later this year.
They're running though. I mean, UPC is $1,200. Like, there's not really a huge gap between 12 and 1,400. And ETBs, I want to say, are 365, 370 now. Let me bring it up. They're moving. They are moving. 400. 397, guys.
Eh,
Never mind. Not 360, $400 now.
Celebrations, so reminds me of back in my more Timmy like days. This is
Mhm.
kind of around the same time I got scared out of some of my evolving skies position. Is I loaded up really heavy on celebrations UPCs back in the day, and there was like more come to market, I think, in Australia, and people, obviously all the YouTube smart people at the time were all saying, reprints are coming and their UPCs are going to start showing up, blah, blah, blah. And so I sold off like half my position of UPCs back when they were like $400. And I got into them low 200. So I did good on them, but reprint never came. They never came down. They just, stayed there, went up more later. And sort of the same thing Evolving Skies did when everyone said reprints were coming at 400 and they never did.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Probably later this year. We'll see them keep running. Done way better than I expected in this year for
Yeah.
celebrations.
Yeah.
Question. What do you think was the greater catalyst for this bull run? YouTube or price/value tracking apps like Collector?
Oh, that's a good question. Man. Well, YouTube's one of the most visited sites in the world. So I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to say YouTube.
I'm gonna say in general, it's kind of like it all ties into social media. I mean, Collector does they do a lot of promos, paid promotions. Their Instagram's fairly large, which again is social media. So I think just in general, you could put this all under the same umbrella as social media. If I had to choose one, though, I would agree with Alex. I think YouTube in general, the amount of views and people coming through the platform, that probably plays a bigger role than just an app. But if you tie in everything that the app does and the media and content they create, then it's a different conversation, I think.
It has helped a lot though. Like it has made people so like financial focused on this hobby. Like having that
Mm-hmm.
at the just every time you get up in the morning, you're checking stuff. You're just checking your collector app, and people are seeing like their money go up. They're seeing what's went down, what's went up. Like it's a huge deal. It's kind of like YouTube, collector in those apps, and rip and ships are like the kind of trifecta of what's driving this market. It's like the collectors keeping everyone focused on the financials. The YouTube's bringing all the attention, and the rip and ships are getting rid of all the packs, making the scarcity just rising. And it's just like it all works together.
I'll say this too. I think collector, and this is just my view of it, they've done a very good job of converting the like hardcore collectors, right? The people that don't care about values or who said they didn't care about values. Now they're all putting their stuff in the collector app, right? And looking at it. So it's been a very, I don't want to say sleazy because it's not sleazy. There's probably a better word to describe it, but a very subtle way of transitioning those people and maybe having a different mindset about the hobby.
Yeah.
So props to them on that. They've done a good job there. Any of you two want to buy 200K worth of Pokemon stuff? All good stuff. Got a house to buy, lol.
I see Pokey and E in the chat.
I'll say this because I
Bro,
have a guy in my mentorship who is always buying. So the Arcane Archive on eBay, you can reach out to him on Instagram. Send me a DM as well, and I'll get you linked up with them. They offer very competitive rates, and they will probably buy everything. So if you want it all gone, send me a DM or reach out to him on Instagram if you can find it. Should be linked in any Saturday video or Wednesday video on the One Piece channel. It should be there. There you go. Easy peasy.
I'm a very selective buyer. I'm not like as much of a big collection buyer. Just because it's not like as much of a part of our business model of like flipping a lot of products, like so a lot of collections I buy are going to be stuff I can either like use for stream packs, anything I'm looking to already pick up and I can pick up at a decent cost to put away. And then like, if I have to pick up a little extra stuff, I will pick it up and send it to a consignment. But like, I'm not in the business of holding a bunch of inventory like on a sealed site to sell. So for me, collections that high, usually I kind of push off to someone else.
Fair enough. Yeah. I was just going to say though, kind of jokingly, you just liquidated 200K, guys. So everyone who's worried about, getting out, selling, taking profits, right now at least, it's very easy to do. Very, very easy.
Hey, talking about Brian, there's his video right there. Selling off Pokemon to buy a house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's a very, very educated move to make, right? Like improving your life based on a hobby of cardboard that you put, in storage or in your closet or something it's an amazing thing, man. And you shouldn't feel bad about it.
Absolutely shouldn't, for sure. Tobias, question. What do you think about Paldean Fate's ETBs over Prismatic 151 or Ascended? I feel like because the set was way before the big hype, it's way underprinted and supply should dry way faster.
Is this question coming in before you've seen TCGplayer? Or you're talking about like now?
this came in 20 minutes ago. So in theory, it should be after we talked about it. Maybe they're linked to the stream. I'll throw it up on screen again.
Yeah, throw it up on screen. I'm not as much of a fan of Paldean Face as I was one day ago.
Yeah. So Tobias, these are now $550, more or less. Which, by the way, 135% return in 6 months. You're doing pretty well on these.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be buying these at these prices now.
Here's the sick part. I still don't even think I'm gonna sell right now. I know, dude. Honestly, it's getting to that point where it's like okay, at what point do you start taking profits? But it's like, I'm not buying
Yeah.
more, but I'm like, well, maybe how high could this go?
I only have one sealed case of Paldean Fates ETBs, and that's all my exposure at this
Yeah.
point. So
Well, that they just got helped out a lot right here.
I think I bought them too for it was probably like 130 USD. It was about 160 Canadian a box. So yeah,
I have more exposure in the bundle displays than I do ETBs. So I don't know how those are doing, but
they're moving.
I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
catch up too.
Yep. I'll throw them up on screen in a second. Steve F, thank you for the super chat. You both stacking Ascended Heroes are too costly right now. I'm not buying more at current levels. I'm still hopeful I'm getting bundle displays. My guy in Singapore had got some from Malaysia, but they're still being shipped. So it's not confirmed yet, but hopefully I'm going to be getting those. I think ETBs though at like 180. I don't know how Alex feels. It's a little bit rich for my blood.
I actually am selling mine.
There you go.
So I'm not selling all, but I did just shave some off. I did, like, literally on Probstein. You're going to see them coming in the next week. I have 2 ETB cases and 2 booster bundle cases that are going to be auctioned off through Probstein this week. And then, you know, if it takes another leg up to like 225, 250, I'll probably leak off 2 more cases. But yeah, I'm just going to take profits. Like, you know, again, like, anything that you got earlier, got from distribution or got like under market at the time, that whatever you're in on it, anywhere between 50 to 100 and $110. It's just, man, it's so much gain so quick. Every other, you know, every other popular specialty set has been printed heavily. In my opinion, the possibility of being able to get them around the same price again at a long time in the future is pretty high, but maybe I'm wrong.
Let me throw the cases up on screen.
Again, hey, go back to our conversation earlier. If I'm wrong, I miss out, right? If I'm wrong, I don't lose anything. I've already made great profits. So it's like, I'm okay missing out.
We're up to, yeah, 2K. $2,400 sale too today. That's filthy. 2,100 too. So
selling AH is crazy, guys. Again, I'm very public with everything I do. I told you I am much bigger fan of Prismatic. I just today we took delivery of 20 cases of Prismatic Evolutions and 300 loose ETBs of Prismatic Evolutions. And last week I got my 9 cases of Prismatic Evolutions Super Premium Collections. So that's where my money's going. If you guys want yours in Ascended Heroes, that's cool too.
I think the other thing too is obviously a lot of people are going to hear you say you're selling Ascended and then automatically assume that means you don't believe in the set. You think it's bad, whatever. But guys, it is kind of the same thing. I mean, Prismatic last year, those ETBs out the gate ran up to 140. I mean, they didn't hit 140 again until what, early this year, or maybe summertime, fall of last. Like it was a long time, right? Where you could have been taking that money, putting it into 151, putting it into other products. So opportunity cost is a very real thing. And Alex saying he's selling Ascended right now, it doesn't mean he thinks the set is bad, right? He just thinks there's better places to put his money.
Yeah. And I still have a lot.
Yeah.
Again, you guys know, I mean, I don't sell everything. I sell some, keep some, and I'll just keep leaking it out. And then if it does drop, if it stagnates and drops, I'll stop selling. I'll keep the rest, and I'll probably buy in more if there's a drop. And I'll just I just play the markets. You know, I take my profits and I buy back in. I do actually what everyone says they're supposed to do. I sell high and I buy low.
By the way, here are the bundle cases. So they are making a move too.
Hold on, go down. So I think that one seller's been there forever. He's like a 67%. It's not even a real sale. Yeah, that's not even a real listing. So they're basically 14, about almost 1,500.
Almost 1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why TCGplayer like lets people like that stay though. He's got like 60% feedback and puts a bunch of low listings on like a bunch of different items, and they're not real.
Yeah, all day, $1,500 at this point.
Yeah.
1,800 no shrink wrap. Some of these sales on TCGplayer, very interesting. It's good to see though. Like this probably adds a little bit more credibility, and the loose bundles as well are doing something similar. I'm pretty sure it adds credibility to the ETBs probably not dropping to $420 again, right? Like we're gonna find we're going to find a new floor on these products if they're all moving. Loose bundles 160. There you go. Cool.
It's crazy.
We're still like 30 minutes behind chats, but we've been going for 2 hours. So let's take a few more rapid fire and then we will get out of here.
Here's my question right now, dude.
Sure.
You see Paldean Fates, you see 151, right?
Yep.
Even take Crown Zenith. How are people thinking that Prismatic is not going to do something similar to that?
That's what I've been saying, man.
I'm so confused. I'm so confused.
Yep. And I don't know about you. I think Prismatic's a better set than Paldean Fates. I think it's better than Crown Zenith.
Yeah, I mean, we can argue Ascended's better. That's fine. But it's like, if you saw Paldean Fates and 151 and Crown Zenith all do this, you don't think in the next 1 to 2 years, Prismatic's going to do at least that, if not better?
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
crazy. That's a crazy way. I don't know. It's just, I feel like I'm like on an island, you know, by myself and I'm going crazy. I don't know why people are challenging that so hard. It seems obvious. Maybe we're just
I'm there with you, man. I'm there with you.
Maybe we're just stupid.
We'll see. Time will tell. What do you guys think? Sorry, that was celebrations. We already touched on that. Let's see. What companies do you guys insure with? Do you have insurance, Alex?
Yeah, I use collectibles insurance services.
There you go.
CIS. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in the States, they're a good one to go with right now. If you were diversified across all of the SV era and needed to trim your positions, which sets would you be cutting right now?
That's a good question. I mean, I guess the weakest ones are probably what, like Base, Paradox, Stellar, Journey.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Base, I don't know if it got bought out. I think it ran up to like $300 a box.
Yeah, it's getting close.
It seems
pretty up on screen.
It's pretty good. I mean, I know the middle sets aren't loved that much. Paradox, Temporal, Stellar seem like some of those may go, some of those may not. It's really hard to tell. Like all those boxes are near 300, over $300 though. So it's not the worst idea to cut some of those if you've been in them for a while.
My answer would be Journey Together, just because I think in terms of opportunity cost, there are way better places to put your money right now. And sure, like a lot of the weaker sets, Paradox, Temporal, Base, there's probably merit in getting rid of these at these levels too, in favor of something like Prismatic. But I think there might just be a little bit more in terms of legs in the short term in these compared to Journey.
Here, let me throw another one out there. What's going on with Obsidian Flames?
Yeah, I think that's what, 365, 370?
Already extremely high. It's only got the Charizard basically. I know there's some other cards. And the Charizard's nowhere near the top Charizard of the era. And now with the Mega Evolutions Charizard, I mean, I just don't know how much legs that's going to have to really produce a lot more gains in the future. So you could even take some profits on Obsidian Flames, honestly.
It's a good shout too. Yeah. I'm with it. Yeah. Any of the earlier weaker sets, Journey. You like Shrouded though right now, don't you? It's okay.
I don't know. Like when it was like 350, 400 a case, it just made so much sense. And now it's just like, you know, it's done really well. And then I'm also starting to think, you know, that really more of those, looking at those black and white era cards, those black and white cards where they're all those illustration rares are really starting to boom, like 30, 40, $50 a card. I'm like, you know, a lot of these illustrations in Shrouded Fable, I mean, I could see some of those cards actually getting valuable, getting sought after. And, you know, just for the price of the ETB, like I'd much rather be in black and white right now. But if black and white go to, you know, $150, $200 with all the other sets, I think Shrouded Fable could end up doing something similar. I mean, there's been worse sets in the past, like Dragon Majesty do just fine. And didn't have any cards and wasn't sought after. It was just so scarce. And they're obviously not printing any more Shrouded Fable. It just, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a home run, but I don't think it's a dangerous play.
The Horsey is now $52.
That's what I'm saying. Like all these cards are moving up, and I don't think the product is pricing it in yet.
Yeah, that's fair. I think. I don't know if my internet's very slow or TCGplayer.
No, it's like TCG now.
Can't even open stuff. That's unfortunate. But yeah, $66 for the Persian.
Yeah, it's not like some home run play that no one's watching.
No,
it's just like,
yeah.
you know, it's like take a flyer on it. You never know. The weird stuff happens in this hobby that you can't explain. I still know to this day why people pay what they do for Dragon Majesty ETBs, what they do. So, dude, who knows
Yeah.
5 years from now what's going on? I mean, I'm not going heavy in it, but I mean, I have some cases of it to see what happens.
I think this is it's a good option for people too who maybe have less money to spend, right? Like if you only have $100,
Yeah.
buying a Shrouded Fable ETB, like it could be a thing, or you'd take a flyer on some of the IRs, right? Like I think a few months ago
Yes.
when the horsey was $20, just looking at where all the other cutesy Pokemon have moved, like if you look at Paradox Rift, the Plusle, the Minun, those are above the Roaring Moon now in terms of price. And the Mantike is, I want to say like $35, $40 as well. So I
That's
mean,
crazy.
it kind of seemed obvious the horsey was gonna make a little bit of a move. It's a nice looking card. So there's always a play in Pokemon.
There's always if you're in the singles game, man, there's always a play.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting.
That is crazy.
We already took this one, but you're asking about Germany now. You can still buy these at 280, 290 euros. So prices from US come with some delay here. If that's true, because I think the euro is close to the dollar, right? 1.1, 1.2. Yeah, so that's like 330 USD. My gut is if you can buy quantity at that price, that arbitrage is going to close very fast. Very, very
Yeah,
fast.
I don't know how
Someone's gonna start buying
I don't
them
know how
out.
the German market works, but if it catches up to the English in any sort of way, like even if this ETB corrects it all, it's not corrected back down to the 300s.
Yeah. I think even North America getting to 450 might be a pipe dream just based on what we've seen today. I'm going to look on Card Market too quickly.
Yeah, you can expect some
Let's see.
corrections, but not at that level.
I'm curious. I don't use Card Market too often. Can you guys see this? So these are all Italian, French, German, more French. It's the one thing I hate about Card Market, the amount of alt language stuff. So lowest English on Card Market, and you're only buying quantity 1. Yeah, we're already up to basically 300. One here at 270. In quantity though, like there's real 3 quantity, got 7 in total. Yeah, like I think a lot of those are probably going to get chewed through fairly quickly. Someone's going to buy them, send them over to North America, make 30, 40, 50%. It's going to close fast.
Yeah, the word's going to get around today.
Mm-hmm. Question. How do you ship to Probstein? Do you just put a note with your information in there?
As rudimentary as that sounds, is exactly what you do. You put your name, email address, phone number, address, and then just line out, every item you have and how you want it listed. Like, one sealed case of Paradox Rift, one booster box of Evolving Skies, one booster box of and like list each line item out, or else they'll just kind of throw them together. Like if you just put 2 Evolving Skies boxes, they're going to list them as 2 Evolving Skies boxes. And so like just make a separate line item for everything you want listed. And they'll reach out with the customer portal. They'll list them, they'll let them run. You'll get a sales sheet at the end with the percentages taken out. And then when their items are paid for, they'll send you payment. That's kind of how it works. They'll have you set up a, routing number or whatever, how you want to get paid, and they'll pay you. It's a terrible I'll be honest, it's a terrible process, but
it seems insane for a company that large.
As soon as Arizona TCG takes sealed, whenever they do, I'll be promoting that. But while they are only taking slabs, it's just.
Do they have the same rates? Do you know?
They're close. They're a little different, but they're close. Especially when you get up to the higher dollar items. But yeah, I mean, Probstein and DC Sports with those over $1,000 4 and 5% fees, you just can't beat that.
Yeah. How do you guys get into the mentality of selling off product and moving on to the next best set? I get stuck in the what if this box goes higher phase when thinking to sell.
Oh, I'll help you out. It's going higher. It will be higher. It's just, again, it just goes to the point where, I mean, I guess looking back, you can kind of like look back at data and see like when the diminishing returns start and kind of, make your best guess. But like with investing, you're always going to make wrong moves. You just have to go with what your gut tells you and what you feel like the more profitable play and the higher probability plays in. But it's always going to go higher than what you sold it at.
I think the way I rationalize it too, to kind of use a poker analogy, right? Like you don't want to be results oriented. So if you move in pre-flop with aces, right? And the other person's got ace king and the board comes out king king deuce and you lose. It's not like you made the wrong
Right.
decision. So it's the same thing with sealed investments. Like sure it could go higher, and people do this all the time, by the way. They'll be like, you sold at 500, it's 700 now. Well, I bought this other product and it's gone from 50 to 100 in the same time period. I've made way more profit. It made sense to do it. So just make a decision in your mind. If it makes sense, don't worry about it after that, right? It is what it is.
It's a great advice. Also, DC, to answer about the Probstein thing, what's the benefit of listing with Probstein? It's very simple. Like you said, what's the benefit of listing Probstein if you have an eBay account with good feedback? I don't have negotiated eBay rates. You don't start getting a conversation with eBay until you're up in the millions of sales per year. And I'm not moving millions through eBay a year. And so Probstein offers 5% fees. That's your all in. You don't pay eBay fees too. You literally get 95% of the value of what it sells for over $1,000 items, where I'm paying, 12, 13% on eBay.
Yeah.
And they do all the work of selling and shipping for you. So it just makes sense.
We did have a super chat come in. Legit Saint, thank you for the super chat. I follow the two of you. Can you look at my portfolio? Legit, probably not like this stream. If you want, I could do it on Monday's stream, or if you just send me a message on Discord, I will look at it after stream and I'll let you know what I think. But when I have guests on, it's something I try not to do. Because we have a lot of questions, so trying to get through like those.
Do you usually do that in your live streams? You pull up people's portfolios and look
I
at
do
them?
sometimes.
Do
Yeah.
you?
I got that idea from Pokey Chuck. He had done that for a while. And it's kind of fun. I mean, a lot of the time you get people that are just flexing. Look at my $400,000 portfolio. What am I doing wrong? Like,
Dude, it'd be fun to almost do like a version of like Caleb Hammer.
yeah,
Like bring people on with their Pokemon portfolio and just trash them.
Do you watch any of his financial audits?
Nothing. Like I see the clips. I've never watched like one of the full videos. I mean, I definitely like when a clip comes, and like a lot of times I'll stay and watch the clip though.
He brings on some interesting people, man. It's scary. Like whenever I want to feel better about myself, I go watch one of those, and you see what people are spending their money on. And it goes back to what you said too. Like when people have good jobs, they're making decent money, but they always say they're broke or they're in debt. And then you actually look at what they're spending money on.
Yeah.
It's like, man, like what are you doing? So yeah, comedy. It's good entertainment.
It is fun.
Fun question. If Crown Zenith came out when Ascended Heroes did, how high are those single prices? I'd say Giratina 800 to 1,000, Mewtwo 1K, etc. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the pull rates for?
I think they're relatively similar to like that Magikarp and the Bubble Mew and stuff. I think they're like 1 in 400 if I had to guess. I'll look it up.
So
yeah.
So easier than Ascended.
Oh yeah. Way easier.
And assuming it was the same amount of product too. Yeah. Another reason to like it too, long term.
So Crown Zenith, it's putting, let's see, it is putting the gold cards at 1 in 600.
Okay.
And then it's putting the V-Star at 1 in 291. So saying the Mewtwo is much easier, but so 1 in 3 to 600. I mean, yeah, it's right around a lot of the other things. Way easier than Ascended.
Yeah, maybe a little bit cheaper just because the pull rates are a bit different, but I think overall it's a great set, man. And we now, by the way, 6 cards over $100 in Crown Zenith, which for the longest period of time, I don't even think there was a card. Like, was the Giratina? I can't remember back 2 years on all of these, but
dude,
I want to say the Giratina was right there. Yeah.
I mean, dirt cheap. The Mewtwo was like 40, $50 forever. All the other cards were like 20. I mean, I used to run, put it this way. When like maybe a year ago, I used to run those PSA nights on my Rip and Ships where you could win a PSA 10 card. All the Crown Zenith cards were like the floors. Like all these cards were like $80 to $100 PSA 10s, like Entei and Glaceon and Deoxys and Suicune. They were cheap.
Yeah. I'm grateful I got some ETBs. I'm grateful I got booster bundles, but I wish I got more Crown Zenith. And that is going to be a story you guys hear, a phrase you hear all the time if you're in this hobby long enough. I wish I bought more.
I wish I would have held longer and I wish I would have bought more. That's all Pokemon ever is. And it was funny is every step of the way you hear about the market crashing and everyone's going to lose it all. And then every year it's, I wish I would have bought more. I wish I would have held longer.
Yeah. Overall though, man, great sets. Do you still have a decent amount of Crown Zenith?
No, I don't.
No.
I have like maybe 6 cases of ETBs, man. And that's like it.
Only 6 cases.
Because I never got like, I wasn't buying bundles back then, so I don't have any of those. And they didn't have any like UPC products. That's all I got. And back then I was ripping through so much. Like, oh my gosh, I used to have a stack, maybe like, I don't know, it had to be a stack of hundreds of like empty ETBs because like I used to rip them all on stream. Now I had like a ton of those Lucario V Stars because I had all those out of the ETB boxes from ripping for the loose packs. But like that was like the product you'd rip to get packs out of because it was cheap. And so, man, I went through so many of those. If I would have just, hindsight's 2020, but
you probably make great money on it, though.
Yeah, I did, but yeah, I ripped down to where I have basically none left.
Supreme Paints, thank you for the super chat. Pokemon boomed, died for 10 years, and nostalgia from now adults who grew with it caused it to be what it is now. Will One Piece follow or flop since kids don't do One Piece? So I'll comment on this first, and Alex can give his thoughts after. A lot of the people I've worked with over the past year in the One Piece space, and by the way, these are very successful people. Like think very high up there in certain companies and stuff. A lot of them got into One Piece because their kids are into One Piece, whether it's watching the anime. I do agree that One Piece will never have the same audience as Pokemon 1-for-1 because obviously there's a little bit more violence, nudity. That's going to be some things certain parents don't want their kids seeing. I don't think it's the largest issue in the world. And I think with the rise of anime in North America, States, Canada, Mexico, whatever, it has a chance. It has a chance to be probably a solid number 2, if not a number 3.
They don't have nudity on the cards, do they?
I mean, there's some very voluptuous looking cards. Let's
it's almost like more of like a Y Shorts type.
Yeah, let's go. I'm trying to think like Nico Robin. I say that some people are salivating, right? So like there are cards that look like this.
I mean, that's pretty normal though for like Japanese TCGs.
Yeah, I'd say.
I would say that One Piece is almost got because of that, it kind of has like a little bit of the issue Yu-Gi-Oh like had. Like Yu-Gi-Oh was kind of like, for a kid's show, it did amazing, huge, long time IPs done really well, but like, it had a little more of the darker stuff to it, a little more of that element. And so it kind of never got like as accepted. Same thing with like Magic the Gathering. It's never got more as accepted by parents. I think Pokemon's done so well because it was just so kid friendly, so innocent, like, and so it's so easy to just like the brand is just like so easy to digest. So yeah, I mean, but it doesn't have to be that to be a long-term success. It's like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering are still around, so it's like, well, can OP be around? Of course. I mean, you just saw Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh do it.
I've worked with a lot of people too where they've followed One Piece for 15, 20 years at this point too, right? So it's not like there weren't kids who grew up with it who have adult money now who are not willing to spend 20, 30, 40, $50,000 on some of these cards. So I don't think it will ever be. It is. It's insane to say. And that's not even like, looking at some of these black labels. There was a deal, black label Serial Luffy, and I can't remember the other card the guy bought, but I think it was like $300K for the 2 cards. Like he really spent a ton of money on some of these. So it's like the money's there. The money's there. The pops aren't crazy high either on some of these mangas. Like maybe 2,500 for the higher end ones, the more populated ones. But Shanks manga still below 1,000 PSA 10s from Romance Dawn. Sanji's only at like 670. The Luffy from EBO2, I still believe is below 1,000 PSA 10s, and that's like Gear 2 art. They're still play. And I'll say this too. This is anecdotal, but the uptick I've seen over the past couple weeks on the One Piece channel in terms of views and engagement, it kind of feels like October, November 2025 esque, right? Like we're almost back to that kind of pre-boom stage again. So we'll see. We'll see. It could definitely be in for some more gains this year. Let's see. A couple more questions. We'll get out of here. We'll take 2 of them, 2 or 3. This is a little bit of a meme, but we'll take it. Have you seen MSRP gain, top signal gain, or Q1 reprint gain recently?
What's really funny about that, dude? Literally, I feel like after I started making fun of the top signal game in the videos, I immediately saw everyone stop saying top signal. It's almost like people watch the video like, oh, we are kind of being sheep with that, aren't we?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've seen the MSRP gang, they're they've kind of given up, and a lot of those people probably left the hobby at this point. The top signal gang, they've been very silent, and the Q1 reprint gang, they just they pulled the old switcheroo and said, surprise, we're actually Q2 reprint. We were right. And so they're Q2 reprint gang, and they were right all along. So,
and they're coming. They're not here yet, but they're coming.
And they're always coming.
Trust me, guys.
They're always coming.
What set is most underrated right now, and what hype product do you think is overrated long term in terms of price?
Underrated right now. What hype product do you think is overrated long term? I don't think Ascended Heroes is overrated long term, even though it's most hyped right now. And I don't even think Phantasmal is. I think that Charizard is legit. What is really hyped?
I have a good answer for hyped right now.
What?
Celebrations.
Okay.
When you look at Celebrations before this year, it's got nothing, and the objective annualized ROI for Celebrations prior to 2025 was on par with Astral, and we all know how everyone looks at Astral nowadays, guys. So I think a lot of the gains this year, it's 100% a speculative play because it's an anniversary year, which again makes no sense. It's irrational, but we're running with it. I think moving into next year, the year after that, where it's not like a milestone anniversary year, it's probably not going to do that well. That's my gut instinct.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the overhyped product is one that isn't even out yet, and I'm just going to take a chance at it. I think 30th anniversary.
It's a good show too.
Don't even know what's in it. I just think,
yeah,
I don't know why, we are putting all of our faith and trust into this 30th anniversary thing. And I don't even know if it's almost like, and Destin Rivals did hit, don't get me wrong. And it's great, but it's almost like the Destin Rivals thing where it was getting hyped up for a year. And then it finally got here and people were like, I mean, the Mewtwo's not that cool, and it's like, I feel like that's how this 30th anniversary is going to be. It's like, people are acting like this is going to be I don't even know what. And I don't know. I think it's just getting a little too much attention. It's just going to be an anniversary set. I mean, Generation Celebrations were not these big hobby movers,
Mm-hmm.
But
they didn't even put Team Rocket in it, man. Destin was garbage. Horrific. So disappointed.
Right. I mean, I think people just they build it up so much in their heads, and then they disappoint themselves with it. And I think it's when I think they're, and it's not that I don't think 30th anniversary will be fine and good and everything. It's just, I just think people, they build up this perfect circumstance, and it's never going to live up to that idea you created in your head type thing.
Yeah, fair enough. We did have another super chat come in too. And Dragon Ball will also do well with Fusion World. Look, Rafaela, thank you for the super chat, by the way. I can't get on board with the Dragon Ball. I think you're going too far down the risk curve there, but that's just me. If it works out for you, and by the way, if you've been in Dragon Ball the past few months, you've done very well, probably better than a lot of Pokemon products. But it's one of those things where all TCGs are on fire right now, even Union Arena, right? And Union Arena, anyone who's opened it, it's terrible. bad opening experience. Sure.
Gundam, the first
Gundam.
Gundam box is through the roof.
Yep. Riftbound is starting to pop off again too. So it's like, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
like Pokemon though.
back to the other question though. They were asking what's the most undervalued thing or underrated thing right now.
Sure.
Dude, I think it's got to be black and white, right?
Those are good shouts. Yeah. I think for a very long period of time, Black Bolt's just gone under the radar. And White Flare's good too. Black Bolt's better, in my opinion. Like if you had to choose one.
Yeah.
And considering they're still fairly similar price, I'd probably just go super heavy into Black Bolt. But yeah,
I am more of a fan of the Reshiram than the Zekrom.
fair
But
enough.
but I agree. It's Black Bolt's just better. I mean, the Seismitoad carries too, and a lot of the other illustrations are great. You know, I agree, man. Black Bolt is going to be the front runner, but both those sets, it just seems like the
Yeah,
Master Balls
good
are going
shouts.
up, and the Master Balls are getting very scarce and going up in value. The illustrations are going up in value. Like you said, the Victini, Zekrom, Reshirams, they're going up, and it's like the
Yep.
ETBs are like almost standing still, kind of.
You'd think too, based on where like Paldean Fates is now a $600 ETB. I mean, when you look at the top 10 value, those sets for a very long period of time were similar. I think Black Bolt was actually higher, right? By a decent amount. So it's like, even conservatively, that should probably be a $400 ETB eventually, you know, when it's out of print. Like, is that ridiculous to say?
The value in those sets doesn't make sense for the ETB price.
Yeah.
And the scarcity on the market. It's like they're scarce. The value in the set's high. It's like I really don't know what's going on with those sets.
I think that's a good shout, man. I think it's a really good shout.
I think it's the one.
I think that's a good note to add on too.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think a good stream, dude. What do we got? Like almost 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours. Yeah, man. Thank you.
Still over 300 people in here.
There you go. We're booming. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not 500 people on a Friday stream, but it's pretty solid. Wednesday. We'll take it. We'll take it. Yeah, why not? Alex, do you have any final words that you want to leave with the people? Man, we did have one more super chat come in, so before you think about that, we'll take this. Francisco, thank you again for the super chat. Will OP long-term decline like Pokemon 5 years after release? PK. Is that Pokemon?
Probably 5. Okay, yeah, because I mean, Pokemon, did it even last 5 years? I feel like it declined after about 3 or 4 years.
I'll say this. I'll say this before Alex answers. I think One Piece is definitely something you want to ride until the end of the manga. 100%. Before the manga ends, before the story finishes. And anyone who's caught up or who's actively following, things just keep getting better. Like every single chapter, it's continuing to peak, in my opinion. So I would ride until the end of the story. At that point, maybe reevaluate, but still very bullish right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different time. I think that's an argument almost similar to the whole like sports car junk wax argument. You know, it's just a different time. You know, social media has changed everything. Everyone's so interconnected. Like we talked about with like the collector apps and things like those. Everyone's paying attention to the finances of their investments. To compare that to what things were like in early 2000s when the internet was still new, I don't think it's going to see a similar track record to Pokemon. No. I don't think it's going to have like this big fall off and then come back in 10 years. And I don't know. It doesn't seem like that way to me. TCGs are strong, man. People want to spend their money and enjoy it with shiny pieces of cardboard these days.
And Alex, if you know people aren't following you, but they want to find you, I mean, where can they do that?
Nostalgianomics everywhere, baby. Nostalgianomics on YouTube, Instagram, Discord.
It should be linked in the description.
What are you going to leave them? What are you going to leave them with? What's the final thoughts? I got to think of something.
Look, I think we go outside of the TCG space for this. You guys should all be getting 10K steps a day. We're getting into summertime too, so put on some sunscreen because getting burnt sucks. So get your steps in, but protect yourself if you go outside.
Dude, I think that's got some hidden meaning there. Getting burnt sucks.
I wasn't even intending to do that, but there you go. Yeah.
I'm gonna echo Pokeani's video if you guys haven't seen it. I really think, look, bullish on Pokemon, but you know, and going back to what one of the people in the chat said about, like, you know, in traditional markets, people take profits when things are high. If you got anything in your personal life that, you know, is causing you like stress or financial instability, and you have large gains in products from TCGs, never a bad idea when the market's like this to take some of those profits and clean up into those areas of your life. So that way you can keep investing and you can keep doing things and living a lot more stress-free, being a lot more financially set up. And it'll probably make you actually a better investor and sleep better at night too. So that's what I would say is, you know, you're not trying to compete to see who has the biggest cardboard stack at the end. You're competing to, you know, improve your life through all this stuff. So take advantage of it if you can.
Well said. Cool. Thanks, Alex. Guys, thank you for watching. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and we'll catch you in the next one. We're out.